Microphone is working. God damn it. I didn't even check that. OhaHyou, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome. Today, I've been excited for this stream, basically. Today, we are reading the visual novel Historia, Chapter 1. There are 2 chapters of it right now. If you'd like to check them out for yourself, the links are in the description. This is a psychological horror visual novel. And for those of you who were around for my Katawa Shoujo playthrough, you might find the writer of it familiar. This was written, so this is released by Lucid A96. And the writer on that team is Corporal Crud, who wrote Hanako's Route in Katawa Shoujo, and has had multiple Hanako-related pieces of work in his past. He has a very, very nice WordPress account. I very much enjoy his writing style, especially as it's developed over the years. And so when I realized he had a visual novel out, a new one, I knew I had to read through it eventually, because why not, right? What would I really be doing as a fan of Katawa Shoujo if not checking out what works the other people who've gone through there have done? I don't think I have anything else to segue. I guess housekeeping notes before I actually start putting on my visual novel reading voice and become absorbed in the story. I will not have a schedule up today, but I should have one up by the end of the day tomorrow. My next couple weeks are going to start getting very, very busy. So I might be cutting down streams more. I probably won't be starting any new games besides Lightfall. I'll just be trying to finish up the ones we have started right now. That is I have 45, 50-hour weeks for like 3 straight weeks next month, so that will be fun. Definitely fun. Just please be patient with me. I am trying. With that, let me open the game. That's loud. I know you can't hear it, but that's really loud in my ears. I don't know why all of my audio sources disconnected. Yeah, literally all of my audio sources disconnected. There we go. That's really, really loud in my ear. So, also we're not even on the screen yet. Get it loaded up. Go. Perfect. That should be perfect, perfect, perfect. Actually, it's gonna... Yep, I figured I shouldn't have resized it till I made the window full screen. Let me make this a little bit, a little bit larger. All right, this is Historia. You can tell from the title screen it's gonna be something interesting for sure. So. I have all my preferences set up. There is actually speech in this one too. I'm excited. Chapter 1. Doug, you'd better not be on that game again. Dad's voice booms through the house. I could swear that I heard the glasses rattle in the kitchen. I bet he's been drinking again. No, I'm studying. This is still really loud, and I also need to mute my BGM. Okay, hopefully that's fine. Not entirely a lie. At least I'm not playing a game. I hurriedly open up a Wikipedia page before the door swings open. Then show me. See? Dad's face remains in a sneer. I can tell that he's not buying it. Think I was born yesterday? Don't make me check your history. You're saying you don't trust me? How could I? I've known you since you were born. Feel my blood boiling. Got too much going on to put up with Dad's shit tonight. Really got no clue, do you? More of a clue than you could ever imagine. Now show me your history. You've been studying, it should be obvious. Dad reaches over me and tries to open the browser history. I pull the power cord before he can reach the keyboard, and the screen goes dark. Whoops. You little prick. Get out of here. Don't worry. I don't want to hang around you when you're in one of your moods. Is this the taste of a liar? What's that supposed to mean? I ignore him, grab my backpack, and push past him, bumping the storage shelf on my way to the door. I knew it wasn't a huge room when I moved in, but it was better than sharing with my sister. Thought I would get some privacy by sleeping in the old storeroom, but my dad knows no boundaries. It's a pain. Where do you think you're going? None of your business. You're damned right it's my business. Get back here. I walk out the back door to the house, waving a farewell to my mother, who is trying to drown out our fight with her headphones. I feel sorry for her, but then again, it's her husband. Don't be too late. The door closes before I get the chance to reply. This is the third time this month that Dad has come home and started ranting before even saying hello. I have no idea what his deal is, but it pisses me off. No point in staying in the house and suffering. I pull my phone out from my bag and make a call. Yo, Doug, what's up? Max's cheerful tone pisses me off. Ever since he was a kid, he had his life together. We've been friends since we both moved here years ago. At the time, there weren't many families in Penrith, so you were friends with whomever was around. Back then, I didn't notice the difference in our families, but now it was painfully obvious. He never said anything about it, but I could tell. His dad drove a BMW, always a new model. My dad has had the same Subaru for as long as I can remember. I have to sleep in a storeroom. Max practically has a whole floor of his house to himself. His dad was some kind of mining consultant. I guess that explained it. I need to blow off some steam. Can I come over? Sure thing, I've got nothing on. I'll download a movie. Grab some Coke on the way. Okay, see you soon. I walk to Max's house, stopping at a convenience store on the way. Coke alone won't be enough. I grab a bag of chips as well. Dude, what took you so long? Never mind, I got Hot Rod. It's hilarious. You seen it? I shake my head. You'll love it. Come on, let's get this party started. That's one thing about Max. No bullshit. He knows what I want to do, just gets on with it. No dumb questions, no trying to make things better. Just Coke and a movie. He knows me too well. Not like you to sneak out. You're usually too straight-laced. Yeah, I know. Life has been pretty crap recently. I don't want to tell him about Dad's drinking or Mom's ignorance of that fact. I just want to chill out. Things have a way of working themselves out. He'll get over it. Only a couple of months and then exams are over. I guess. Just think, when summer's over you can be in university. far away from your parents. And Natalia. Don't worry, I'll look after her for you. You touch my sister and I'll kill you myself. Max punches me playfully. I'd like to see you try. Aren't you going to some fancy university as well? Probably. Thinking about taking a gap year, though. Dad keeps bugging me about it. Why on earth are we talking about school? Are we watching this movie or not? We're here to get our laughs on. Sounds like a plan. Besides, if I start thinking about how hot your sister is, I won't be able to sleep. Shut up, you wanker. I need to say that in a more British accent. Fine, fine. I can see you want her for yourself. I want to make a comeback, but I realize that I've lost this fight. I know Max would never really try and make a move on Natalia. He's only doing it to get at me. But then again, that's probably his point. He's expertly taken my mind off my troubles at home. Ya wanker. Oi, shut your mouth, you bloody wanker. Just put the damned movie on. You're too easy to stir up. It's all that honor crap you've got in your head. Don't worry, Uncle Max has got the pill to chill your ills. Trust me, this is hilarious. You keep saying that, but I don't see anything on your TV. Alright, don't get your knickers in a twist. Here you go. The movie is hilarious. Within minutes, I've forgotten about my petulant father and his drunken rampages. In the back of my mind, I can see his point. It's my last year of high school. If I screw up now, it can ruin the rest of my life. But that's my mistake to make, not his. Mom seems to get it. She keeps telling me to keep my head on straight and remember what's important. I know that they're both right. I don't want to fight with them, but it's a stressful time. I try to be good. I don't drink or party like some of my friends, even though there's not much else to do out here. A lot of people seem to fall into that trap. They get bored, so they start drinking. And because they spend all their money on booze, they can't afford to get out of here. It's a vicious cycle. Max gets it, though. He's a bit of a study freak, but he knows how to wind down as well. That's why I like him. I laugh my backside off through the movie, losing myself in the childish humor. But, like all good things, it comes to an end. You were right. That's exactly what I needed. I haven't laughed so hard in ages. I know, right? It's so stupid that it becomes genius. You gonna stay over? I look at my watch. Nah, I should get home. Things should have calmed down over there. Mom will be worried. No probs. You're always welcome here, you know? Thanks, man. I want to take him up on the offer, but I know that I have to patch things up with Dad. I don't like leaving things to fester. Better deal with them before they get out of hand. I sigh and pick myself up out of Max's beanbag. See you at school tomorrow? Sure. Let's come here when you're done. We can look at that math assignment you got. Due on Friday, you know. Don't remind me. You'll be fine. Anyway, night. Night. The evening is starting to get a little warmer, but only marginally. Even though the spring days are starting to heat up, the nights still retain winter's chill. Soon the days will start getting longer, and you'll be able to go out without a jacket. I'm looking forward to that. I should let Mom know I'm coming home. Ah, shit. I fumble around in my bag, but my phone is nowhere to be seen. Must have left it at Max's house. I hope he's still up. As I approach Max's house, I can see lights dancing through his window. He's still watching TV. I try the door. Thankfully, it's unlocked. I guess his parents are asleep. There'd be hell to pay if I woke them up. Inside, the sound of water echoes faintly. I shouldn't have worried about waking anyone up. They're obviously watching something. Clean with jump scares? I don't think this has jump scares, thankfully. So hey, welcome to the stream, and welcome to the stream as well, Mateo. Regardless, habit makes me creep up the stairs, just in case. I feel like a thief in the night. What the hell was that? A pang of dread spears through my heart. This isn't sound from a movie. This is real. Light is pouring out of Max's parents' room, and the same watery sound. It's too loud to be a shower, and it feels like it's moving around the house. Max? Are you okay? My heart pounds against my chest, and I find it hard to swallow. My mouth is dry. My call to Max seems more like a whimper. The air smells of ozone, and the hair on my arms starts to stand on end. I feel arcs of static electricity shooting from my hand to the stairway, and I yelp in shock. I reach for the banister to steady myself, but the solid wood seems to flex at my touch, like it's made of sponge. The steps, too, feel like they could give way under my weight, even though I've bounded up them 100 times or more. I try to shake it off. It's late at night, and my mind is playing tricks on me. Even my eyes are finding it hard to focus on the world around me. It's as if I'm in some new reality that my body wasn't built to handle. I can feel a presence getting closer, and the sound of water getting louder. It's the noise of a river bursting its banks and charging down the street. I creep up the last stair and into the darkened landing, rounding the corner with caution. Before I realize it, I'm seeing something indescribable. I'm frozen in fear, my hands clutching the handrail of the stairway. A giant, glowing head arches out from Max's parents' bedroom. At least, I think it's a head. From the front, it is nothing but teeth, rows and rows of teeth disappearing into an endless blood-red maw. The creature twists and shows me its body. It is like a floating snake, a fluid tube about a foot across, winding its way from Max's parents' room. Its skin is flowing liquid, glowing and brilliant. Colors dance across its surface in constant motion. It's as beautiful as it is terrifying. I can do nothing but look. Not even a breath escapes from my lips. The head bobs and weaves, as if it is searching for something, before plowing into the hallway wall. Max! My body engages before my brain can catch up, and I charge into Max's room. The snake is already coiling up in Max's room, and I can see him on his bed, frozen in panic. The beast's head is arched up to the ceiling, swaying like a cobra about to strike, fixated on Max. I grab a pen from Max's desk, it's the closest thing that I can find, and try to stab the glowing, fluid body. The pen and my hand pass through the snake's body, and for a moment I feel lost in time. The terrible sensation of touching the beast instantly sets my body afire, and I feel my stomach retch as it heaves up its contents. My projectile vomit phases through the snake's body and all over Max's desk. Doug! Help me. Get out of here! I try to grasp the snake's body again, but my hands can't find purchase. Nausea washes over my body again as I make contact with the strange, fluid body. Bro tried to stab water. Doug. Doug! In an instant, the serpent pounces. Its endless mouth opens wide before it slams itself upon Max's helpless body. The snake's skin glows brighter, more blinding than the sun, and I have to shield my eyes. Instinctively, I charge into the beast, arms flailing, trying to save my friend. I feel my whole body crash into the watery form, and my brain starts to freeze. My eyes feel like they will bulge out of my head, and my skin bristles. I can hear nothing but the darkness of the void. Electricity arcs in my nose, a burning, artificial smell. It's like my body is being warped and stretched in every direction at once. Suddenly, I have phased through the snake's body and reached the other side. The beast is ignoring me completely. It uncoils itself as it continues downward through Max's bed, sloshing and gurgling as it rushes past me. In a moment, it is gone, and the room is shrouded in darkness. It takes a moment for my eyes to adjust. Max? My voice is a hoarse whisper. I creep toward Max's bed, groping against the darkness. Max? My voice returns slightly. Part of me hopes that Max, like myself, simply passed through this phantom beast, rattled but unharmed. As the darkness starts to give way, I can finally see Max's room. It's perfectly empty, as if it were a showroom model that had never been lived in. Max is nowhere to be seen. Max? Max. There is no answer. I force my weakened body to Max's parents' room. Again, there is no one there. From downstairs, the gurgling sound of water creeps back into my perception. Flashing colors light up the stairwell as the beast moves around the ground floor of the house. I drag myself over the ledge of the balustrade and take a deep breath. The rushing water sound grows in volume, and the light increases in intensity. With a guttural scream, I launch myself down the stairwell and onto the back of the beast. Fuck you! The morning sun breaks through my window, rousing me before my alarm. I check my phone, noting that it's only 15 minutes before my alarm was due to sound anyway. To be robbed of those precious last moments of sleep irritates me for some reason, but I know that I'm not going to be able to reclaim them. It doesn't help that I can't put my finger on when I got to sleep last night. I remember tossing and turning in bed, complaining about not sleeping. But that's it. I guess my temper flared too high and messed with my sleeping patterns. I know that I must have gone to sleep at some point, but part of me doesn't believe it. I'm just as tired as I was when I crawled into bed. Such is the life of a high school boy, I guess. After trying to force my eyes shut for 5 minutes, I realized the futility of it all and dragged my sorry arse out of bed. The house is silent. I must have been the first up. Mom is likely still passed out. She's been working long shifts recently. Dad... His car is in the driveway, so he's here, but I honestly couldn't care right now. He had no right to act the way he did last night. Alcohol is no excuse to lose your mind in that kind of way. In any case, I can't hear him around. Maybe he's still hungover and sleeping it off. I pull on a uniform and head to the kitchen to fix myself some breakfast. To my surprise, Natalia is already quietly eating a bowl of cereal. Oh, morning, Doug. Did I wake you? Nah, you can blame the sun for that. I see a flicker of relief rush across her face. Oh, good, I just didn't want to disturb anyone after... You know. I guess everyone is walking on eggshells this morning. It's okay. So, you thought you'd get out of here early? Yeah, you could say that. Although I would think that you're the one who'd want to sneak out. It's barely 7. Dad won't be up until past. If you leave now, you'll miss him. The thought had crossed my mind. It might be a lot easier to avoid Dad today. I'll think about it. I pour myself a bowl of cereal and sit opposite my sister. I glance at my own uniform, clean but crumpled. It's a far cry from the neat perfection of Natalia's. I guess we have different priorities. No one cares what a guy's clothes look like. But girls seem to pay attention to different things. We eat in silence, careful not to rouse the monster that ruined last night. Look, it's not my place to tell you how to live your life, and Dad was clearly in the wrong. But you don't need to provoke him. Especially when he's drunk. I feel a knot in my chest. She's probably right, but pride won't let me admit that. She always was Dad's favorite. She doesn't know how hard he is on me. I swallow hard to keep my stomach in check before answering. I didn't provoke him. He just never listens to me. I was only trying to explain myself. That's exactly the point. You always have to win, even when it's impossible. Do you think that he's going to listen to you when he's like that? You're better off keeping your mouth shut, and maybe we can be a family again. I open my mouth to reply, but I pause for a second. Replays of last night run through my mind as I process what she said. Dad came home and accused me of wasting time on the computer. I turned off the computer before he could check it. He lost his mind and started trying to take the computer apart. I told him that I had an assignment due tomorrow. Natalia tried to intervene, but upon seeing the maelstrom, retreated into her room. Mom refused to be drawn into the conflict. Her long shift had ended and she needed to wind down. So it was Dad and I yelling insults at each other until he stepped out of my room. I spotted my chance and barricaded my door. Mom was finally moved to act when he went for an axe to break into my room. But by that point, I'd already slipped out through the window. She laid into him before heading off to get some sleep. If this weren't a regular occurrence, I'm sure that our neighbors would have called the police at that point. I imagine that they're getting used to these escalating exchanges. It's the same pattern every night. But I'm glad that I can count on my sister. She's practically my best friend. I don't know what I'd do if she weren't around. But what else am I supposed to do? Roll over and let him ruin my life? I'm 17, nearly 18. This time next year, I'll be in university. But he treats me like I'm some 5-year-old that needs to be told how to do everything. Just because he's bigger than me doesn't make him right. It's infuriating. My hands start to tremble as the memories from last night tumble around my mind. But you do act like a child sometimes. What did you end up doing last night after he quieted down? Did you study? She knows me too well. I try to avoid her piercing gaze, but it's impossible. Her voice is a calming influence on me, helping me see through the fog that lingers in my mind. For some time now, she's been able to tell exactly when I was lying. I watched Hot Rod in my room and then tried to force myself to sleep. Maybe you do need someone to look out for you. I've always been close to my sister. Something about her just makes me want to look after her. Like she's an innocent version of myself that I need to protect from the big bad world. But recently I've felt as if the tables have turned and she's started looking out for me more than I have her. She's certainly more level-headed than I am. And she's been able to make friends easily, something that has always vexed me. I've never really had any friends, at least none that I would rely upon. Maybe that is why she's a little more stable than myself. She always seems to have someone to talk to. Yet, I feel something tugging on the back of my mind, a dream half-dreamed. I shake off the feeling and shove the remaining cereal into my mouth. But I do have someone looking out for me. That's your job, right? What are you saying? You're supposed to be the big brother here. Relax, I'm pulling your leg. I'll be fine. Only a couple more months and then I'm out of here. You can come visit me if you'd like. What, to a uni dorm? No thanks. I've seen your room. Can't imagine what it would be like if Mom didn't force you to clean up. Don't tell me you're afraid of some dirty clothes. If that was all I had to worry about finding in your room, then I'd be okay with it. I want to reply, but I realize that I've backed myself into a corner. I either incriminate myself or disgust my sister. Or, more than likely, both. But the joshing has changed the mood a little. After being berated all night, it's good to chat freely with a friend. You alright? Uh-huh. Oh, nothing. It looked like you were coughing or something. My body is convulsing and I don't realize it. Like I'm trying to heave up some unknown poison from my gut. Just some gas, I guess. I didn't even register my body moving. You want me to get Mom to look at you? I can wake her. Ah, she'll panic like she always does. I'll go for a walk and it'll be alright. Good idea. Best to leave before the dragon awakes. I wave back at my sister as I walk out the door. I know that she's trying to make light of the situation, but it's not a great place for any of us right now. Dad can't seem to leave work at work, so he's always already stressed by the time he walks in the door. Even when he's not drunk, it's like sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Mama's given up helping. She sees enough death and destruction at work. Tries to drown out our fights where she can. So Nat and I have banded together to protect one another. At least I'd like to believe that. I know that I have a share of the blame when it comes to the fights at home. I can't stop myself. I know that I should shut up and let him blow off some steam, but I can't. Fighting back seems to be part of my nature. I simply can't let him believe he's right when he's clearly in the wrong. But it's not fair on Nat. Maybe I should pay more attention to her. I stare at my feet as I shuffle along the road as if on autopilot. I've walked to school 1,000 times. My body knows where it's going. Instead, I put my mind to deciphering last night's events. What could I have said differently? What can I tell myself to prevent my reacting? A mental fuse that I can blow before flying off the handle. It's pointless. No matter how many times I look through last night's events, I can't see myself reacting any differently. I'm a sucker for a fight. I guess people don't change. You put the same person in the same situation 100 times, they'll get the same result 100 times over. It's far too early to show up to school, but I could go to a cafe somewhere and crack a textbook there, I guess. Something prompts me to look up, and I realize I am lost. I'm standing in front of an unfamiliar house. A 2-story townhouse that seems to be an exact copy of the other houses on its street. I know I've never seen it before, but I can't ignore the tingle of deja vu coursing down my spine. I'm drawn to this house somehow, but I don't know why. I look down to my hand and see it shaking, just like it was at breakfast. Looking at the house makes me feel like I want to vomit, so I turn my back to it and head towards school. I barely make it 10 steps before I feel an eruption in my gut charging for my mouth. I have no chance to stop it, and I aim the stream of black bile into a nearby gutter. The mass of vomit seems to crawl along the concrete like some kind of animal, seeking shelter in a nearby drain. I turn back towards the house I've just left. It appears hazy in my vision, out of focus. Like when you try to take a photo without enough light. Blurred. Max. Max? Why have I heard that name before? More importantly, why am I saying it? I need a drink of water. The spring heat is starting to get to me. I'm overtired and dehydrated. I close my eyes and take some deep breaths, charging my lungs with oxygen, before pushing on back towards school. The unexpected detour has cost me some time, and as I approach the school, I start to see other students meander in the same direction. I pay them no mind. Regardless of opening hours, I need a coffee and a water to soothe my dried throat. A latte and a cold bottle of water. I've blown most of the money I'm carrying for lunch, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I take alternating sips of the hot drink and cold water. Not sure why, but it helps to wash away the taste of the vomit. Max. Who is Max? I'm perplexed by this figment of a memory. It's little more than a name, but there is some connection there. I close my eyes and try to sort out my thoughts. As the liquid mix in my stomach, I can start to feel something deep within me. Some kind of imbalance in the universe. Like I'm missing some piece of me. I try to breathe in deeply, but it feels as if I can't fill my lungs. I overextend myself, trying to get air into each branch of my chest, but it's no use. I'm not exhausted, yet I feel short of breath. Like I'm drowning in thick air. A memory is desperately clinging to the back of my mind. I try to shake it off, but I can't. Eyes closed, I reach for my coffee. Shit. Reflexes kick in, and I shake the hot liquid off my hand. I open my eyes to see the spilled coffee spread out like a brown wave across the table, drenching everything in its path. Crap. A levee of napkins is quickly created to contain the disaster. Somehow I have emerged unscathed beside some slightly soiled hands. I sweep up as much of the coffee I can into a mountain of soaked tissue before heading to the bathroom to wash my hands. West Ash Push See You, hey, welcome to the stream. The stink in the bathroom is already sickening. Didn't they clean this last night? Or have the years of grease from the fast food atmosphere simply made this place uninhabitable? Never mind. I turn on the faucet and place my hands in the water. Electricity arcs between my hands as they make contact with the stream, causing me to trip over myself. What the... Again, I feel the urge to vomit. I barely drag myself to the filthy toilet before I lose control and discharge the coffee mix into the bowl. I feel a tear in my reality. An unfamiliar face calls to me. Doug, Max. The figment loses itself in the swirl of the toilet, beyond the reach of my senses. My stomach pinches again, and the memories of sitting at home last night shudder and fade, like a bad recording on a security camera. The fuck was that? So much for keeping myself clean. Gray-brown stains are smeared across the knees of my school pants, and flecks of black vomit litter my shirt. But there's no time to change. I need to get to school, clear my head, get over whatever fever dream I'm having. Part of me wants to go home and crawl into bed, but I'll never hear the end of it if I do. The water is still pouring from the faucet into the sink. I want to splash my face, but the shock from the first time scares me. I shut off the tap and carefully leave the bathroom. Guiltily, I eye off the disaster zone of the coffee flood before bolting out the door of the cafe and into the schoolyard. Someone will clean it up, I'm sure. I mean, that's their job, right? Maybe it will be practice for them before they attempt to clean the bathroom. The familiarity of the playground settles my mind and stomach. Groups are huddled in their spots. Sporty kids are kicking a ball in the round on the oval. The nerds are playing a game of chess under the shade of a tree. My friends are sitting around, joking and already eating their lunch. What's up? The group nods roughly at me, paying no heed to my appearance before turning to their conversations about girls and cars. Both things that none of them have any real experience with, but that doesn't prevent them posing as experts in their fields. I must have eaten something funky last night. That is the only explanation. Maybe this is some kind of drug trip. Did one of these guys slip me something without me noticing? Before I can ask, the bell rings and we shuffle towards roll call. The schoolyard banter continues, drawing disgusted stares from some of the girls in the class, but we don't seem to mind. However, as the teacher strides in, we all settle down. Alright, quiet up. Roll call time. Daisy? Daryl? Doug? Edgar? Edith? Graham? Rebecca? Huh? Quiet please, Doug. You've had your turn. No, what did you say? Rebecca? The walls of the classroom flex in towards me, and again I feel as if I can't breathe. I'm underwater, unable to fill my lungs. I need to escape. Doug? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. You can see the classroom spinning fan pull the air along with it, slowly dissolving the ceiling and putting into an off-white swirl above me. Edgar, can you help Doug get to the nurse's office? Windows melt in the hot, hot sun that is beating down on me from above. Its light dancing as it refracts through the liquid ceiling. It's fine. I've gotta get Max. Who is Max? Edgar, please help him lie down. A vague figure approaches me and places a hand on my shoulder. Fire burns my insides and I recoil from his touch. Don't touch me! I leap back, tripping over my desk. I need to find Max. Now. Edith, please go get the nurse. Now. I feel a presence slip past me, but it's hard to see through the thick air. It reminds me of something buried deep in my mind. A repressed memory. Fangs and rushing water tear at the edges of my mind, forever out of reach. But at the end of my conscience, I can sense its malevolent presence. I need to get out of this space, this reality that is falling down around me. The door's shape beckons to me, and I swim through the fluid space towards it. Beyond it, I can see the school's hallway, shimmering as if I were looking through a soapy bubble. I'm not going to let you eat me. My voice echoes around the classroom, shifting in pitch as it bounces off the walls of this bubble. With much effort, I reach the door and tear myself through its membrane and into the clear air beyond. My memory returns. Behind me, reality snaps back into place and I see 24 scared faces staring at me. But there's no time to explain this to them. How would they understand anyway? There is a monster on the loose, and there is a chance that Max is still out there, somewhere. I can feel his presence calling to me. The school's nurse rounds the corner of the hallway, a concerned look on his face. My feet start to move automatically, carrying me away from the nurse and deeper into the school. Doug, it's okay. I'm here to help you. His footsteps speed up as he tries to keep pace, but I know that I'm younger and faster. I break into a sprint, running down the hallway. I misjudge my speed and crash into a classroom door as I round a corner. The class beyond stares at me through the window, and a worried face jumps out at me. It's Nat, horrified to see the commotion that her brother is causing. She jumps up and runs to the door before I can gather myself and run off. Doug, are you okay? What's going on? It's Max. He's gone. Some monster has him. I need to try and save him. Doug, what are you talking about? I think you need to lie down. I slap away my sister's reassuring hand. If I don't get out of here soon, I'll be trapped here forever. Escape is my only option, even if that means pissing Nat off. Sorry, but this has to be done. The whole town is in danger. Behind me, the nurses finally caught up. Love you, sis. My legs pump as I run through Natalia's classroom and leap from an open window and out into the playground. The nurse peers his head out the ground floor window. It's not too far from the ground, but too high for him to jump. I turn my back from the school building and sprint through the grassy playground and onto the street beyond. Intersecting memories overlap in my mind, but I can now clearly see Max's house in my mind. My body must have been taking me there this morning to check on him. If only I weren't so stupid to realize that was what was going on. Feels like I've been drugged and my memories replaced. But it's more powerful than that. Like Max was some creation of my mind that I forgot about. Childhood memory that was forgotten, only to come rushing back with total clarity due to some random stimulus. Like remembering a summer trip if you smell a certain scent, or a joke you were told over ice cream. I can't be sure that it's real. The only way for me to know for sure is to confront Max or the monster and find out. Max's house stands as it always has, the two-story townhouse in a nice area. The front garden with its perfectly maintained lawn, the immaculate white paint, the faux marble entranceway. I'd learned to deal with the difference in our lifestyles, but I think part of me secretly hated him for that. I take a step towards the front door. Something stops me. Even though I was here less than 12 hours ago, something is different. The car in the driveway is an old but well-maintained Toyota. I could have sworn his dad had a BMW. Something's amiss with the curtains as well. Weren't they beige, not brown? I'm still shook up. There is something wrong with this reality. Or maybe this is all just some kind of trip. I bet Max will be inside, laughing his arse off and dying to reveal what he slipped me last night. Drugs are easy to get at my school, and Max has the money and gall to pull a stunt like that. He's told me countless times before that I'm too much of a straight arrow and need to lighten up. One of these days I'll break you out of that Boy Scout shell. It's my personal mission, what he used to say. Maybe he decided to get a little heavier-handed in his methods. If that's what happened, I'm gonna wring his neck. Then again, after the last 24 hours, I think I would prefer a bad acid trip to warping through realities. Or seeing that giant snake dream again. I walk across the soft grass and press the doorbell. It feels delightfully solid. I can faintly hear it ring inside. The noise is somehow calming. The drug theory is making more and more sense. I'm not going crazy after all. Coming! It's a voice I've not heard before. An old lady. Maybe he has a visitor. The door opens and I can see an old Asian woman in front of me. Can I help you? Yeah, is Max in? I peer in behind the woman. Everything looks different from what I remember. The stairway looks the same, but the furniture has all been changed. Max? I think you have the wrong house. No, this is the right house. Max Dunbar has lived here for years. Well, now I know that you're wrong. This has been my home since it was built 13 years ago. The nausea hits me again and I falter backwards. She shakes her head before closing the door. I stumble away from the house. As I cross onto the footpath, I feel like I'm pushing through the air. Like I'm walking through a wall of mud. My memory clears, and I can see the ghostly snake devouring Max clearly in my mind's eye. I take a deep breath of air and squeeze my eyes shut, forcing my memories to the fore. My mind is at odds with itself. Part of it is telling me Max was a dream, that he never existed. The more I try to recall our childhood together, the harder it gets to remember him. It's like chasing a rainbow. No matter how fast you run towards it, it's always out of reach. Doubt creeps into my consciousness. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I was the one that fed myself drugs, and Max is an illusion. No, that can't be right. He's real, I'm real. None of this world is real. But I need to pull myself together. People are gonna think that I'm crazy. Running screaming from school will have that effect on your reputation. I need to get my world under control, but it's spinning too fast. Or maybe that's just my head. Nothing makes sense and I feel exhausted. As much as I want to avoid a run-in with Mom right now, I decide the best option is to sneak home. If I can rest for a little bit, then maybe I can clear my head and sort out this mess in my mind. The walk home feels longer than it should be, and I could swear that I can smell traces of ozone. A cold breeze blows down Max's street, and I feel the chill against my skin. The wind blows the smell from my nose before I can verify it. By the time I get home, I have almost convinced myself that this is reality, and that Max was the dream. I quietly open the back door to the house. Dad should be at work by now, but it doesn't hurt to be careful. Mom was likely asleep after her night shift. She doesn't usually get up until well after we finish school. I was wondering when you'd come back here. Natalia is waiting for me at the kitchen table, negating the need for stealth. How did you know I'd be here? You ran screaming from school in some kind of drug fever. I knew you'd have to come back here eventually. I sheepishly try to avoid her stare. She's right. I went a little overboard this morning. Sorry, I must have slept poorly or something. That didn't look like sleep to me. Are you using? I recoil physically at her accusation, but from her point of view, it's a reasonable conclusion. No, I swear. I'm just a little messed up right now. I think I had some weird dream last night, that I saw some kind of attack. But I'm okay now. You better not be taking anything. I have to put up with enough crap from Dad and those junkies in school. You're supposed to be the diamond in the rough here. I tussle my sister's hair. You don't need to worry about me. I've got too much going on for me to fuck it up now. I'm not totally convinced by that, but I do know that I can't afford to lose focus now. I can count the rest of my high school life in weeks, and I know just how behind I am on my studies. If I want to end up at a half-decent university and get out of this backwater, I need to hit the books. I fill my lungs and try to push the remnants of this dream from my head. I need to forget fantasies of snakes and monsters. Focusing on some hard facts from a textbook should help with that. You'd better not. Oh, I brought your bag back. Told your roll call teacher that you had a fever. Thanks. You're welcome. I'm going back to school now. Get your head together, okay? Sure. Oh, Nat? Don't tell Mom, okay? She'll flip out and send me for a bunch of tests or something. You got it. But pull a stunt like this again and I'll make you piss in a cup myself. Natalia picks up her school bag and heads out the door. Talking to another person helps to calm my mind, and suddenly I feel tired. Running around like a madman all morning has taken its toll. I need to study to clear my head. It's not often that I'll get a chance to have the house to myself. I grab a glass of milk from the fridge, slamming it shut before opening my school books on the kitchen table. Much easier to study here than in my room with the piles of old cardboard boxes. Small windows in that room simply don't provide enough ventilation. Too long in there and I'll give myself a headache. I become engrossed in my history book, and before I know it, the white light streaming in from through the windows has taken on an orange hue. I better shift back to my pitiful room before anyone gets home. The sun sets as my wayward family begins to assemble in the house. Natalia is first, secluding herself in her room almost as soon as she gets in. Suppose that between last night and today, she's had enough of me. Doesn't want to be dragged into another confrontation. Mom is next. I hear her sleepy sighs as she settles into the dining room after a day of sleep. I want to go out and say hello, but I'm afraid that I'll slip up and she'll go into protection mode. Best to pretend that I'm studying and keep out of her way for now. The worst outcome is that she starts to think that I'm on drugs. I'll never hear the end of it. Locking myself away to study isn't that rare, so I might be able to get away with it for today. It isn't long before I hear the background noise of the TV flood the living room and the hum of the microwave. Pasta again, I suppose. She works like a dog and still finds the energy to cook for us. I don't know how she does it. Not that boiling pasta and microwaving sauce is really gourmet cooking, but it saves me doing it. Sometimes I try to cook for everyone, but it always ends up terrible. Mom subtly suggested that I leave it to her. Dinner's ready. The emotionless cry reverberates around our little house. Natalia and I dutifully file into the dining room. Natalia gives me a look that tells me she won't say a word, but at the same time, to avoid starting another row with Dad. I sheepishly nod in her direction. Message received. One look at Mom's face tells me all I need to know. It's been a rough day. Don't ask me anything. That's what the bags under her eyes are telling us. How was school? Uneventful. I could hug my sister for jumping in before me. I still can't trust my mouth to say what I wanted to say. And you? Same, I guess. Just getting ready for finals. Good. Good. With the official family conversation ended, we start eating in silence. Spaghetti bolognese. It's a staple of our family diet. I don't really mind it. It's quick and it fills you up. And I'm healthy enough, so it can't be that bad for you. Started noticing that a lot of people in this town are becoming obese, but so far we are still fit. Doug. I want you to know that your dad doesn't mean everything he said last night. I twirl my fork in the spaghetti, sloshing the red sauce around the plate. We just know that you only get one shot at this. You know that too, right? I guess. I don't feel like talking to her about it. I'm still not entirely sure of what happened last night. Memories are overlapping in my mind, making it hard to tell reality from fiction. But if I act too weird, Mom's sensors will start pinging, and I'll be interrogated with vigor. There's one more complication that I don't need in my life right now. Mom has made her stance on drugs quite clear. If the junkies were gone, so would her need to pull overtime. He's also got a lot of stress at the moment. Stress, huh? That guy doesn't know stress. Mom has worked in an emergency ward for decades. The stories she tells us chill your blood. What kind of stress could an office worker have that compares to that? I know. I struggle to keep my emotions in check. If I get myself riled up now, then I'll pop when he gets home. Well, so long as you know. He wants what's best for you, even if you don't see it yet. One day you'll thank him. I drop the fork on my plate with a clatter. I get it. I'm done. I carry the half-empty plate to the sink. I don't want to be petulant to my mother, but I also need time to think. Reality isn't playing nice today, and I already know what she's going to say. She's not wrong. I guess that is the hardest part of it all. I've got to study. My finals are bringing a lot of stress into the family. Even though I am the only one affected, Mom and Dad both have been fretting over the coming exams. And that reflects back on me, so I start to get worried. At the beginning of the year, I thought I had everything under control. But as the day looms closer, they've started panicking. What if I don't get good enough grades? It's not like I have any other talents. I like to shoot some hoops now and again, but I'm easily the weakest player on the school team. So sports aren't an option. I've already had a couple of friends drop out of high school to start apprenticeships, but Dad won't let me do that. You need a degree to survive in this world. Almost every trade will be automated in the next 20 years. He might be right. So university has always been front of mind for me. I want to make an impact on this world, and that's not something you can do easily as an electrician. But that's about where my ambition stops. I have a couple of subjects that I'm okay with, but nothing stellar. That's maybe the appeal of university. Get out of this tiny town and try to find out what I'm good at. Maybe that's why I clash with Dad so much. He spends too much time reading about the future of business, so he wants me studying computer science. His vision of the future seems so clear, but from where I sit, it's not that simple. I can hear his car pull up in the driveway now. Must already be 8 o'clock. Somehow I can tell by his footsteps that he hasn't been drinking. That's a relief. The door opens and he calls out to everyone. I'm home. Doug, have you got a sec? Damn it. Here he comes. I'm in my room. Close my eyes and breathe in deeply, trying to force the confusion from my mind. If Mom's overbearing caring instincts are bad, having Dad thinking that I'm high would be much worse. I don't even want to imagine his reaction. He knocks on my door before opening it and leaning in. Look, Doug, I wanted to apologize for last night. It's okay. No, it's not. I went overboard and it's not healthy. I get so worried about you and your sister. I want you to end up a screw-up like your uncle. Ah, that old crutch. Dad wasn't exactly on the top of the social ladder, but he was still a far few rungs up from his kleptomaniac brother. I get it. Anyway, I want you to know that I want to support you. But I can see you making the same mistakes I did, and I want to stop you from that. A small spark of anger flares up in me. Normally I'd bite back, but I want this to be over. I have other things to worry about today. I know. Thanks, Dad. Dad seems to accept my thanks. He was probably expecting me to fight back as well. Okay, I see you're working. I'll leave you to it. You're a good kid, you know that? Yeah, I know. He taps the door jamb and pulls the door closed. Finally, I'm left alone. I tamp down the fire that is starting to grow in my belly. There's no point in getting pissed off and starting another fight tonight. Till I can trust my body again, it's not worth making too much fuss. I need to clear my head, so I grab a light jacket and my helmet and head outside. I'm going for a ride. Be back in a bit. Okay, have you got your helmet? Oh. My mother has trained me well. No riding without a helmet. I used to think it was too nerdy, but then she showed me some photos of accidents. That was enough to scare me into protecting my skull. Stay on the main roads. Be safe. Sure thing, Mum. The dad is trying. I put my legs harder against the wind in my face. The blood surging through my body helps to clear my head. Forget about wild dreams of serpents or stomach cramps. Forget about Max and of epic fights in the night. Just push, and push some more. All of these things work themselves out in the end. Just push through it, and you'll work it out. That's how I've dealt with everything else so far. Deal with what you have to, and filter out the rest. But then again, I've not dealt with something like this before. Stop thinking. Push. I chastise myself for letting my mind wander, and I charge my legs for another sprint. The school whizzes by on my left as I head towards the river. At this hour, there are hardly any people in sight. Not sure what Mom was worried about. There aren't even any cars out. I see somebody walking a dog, but apart from that, nothing. I turn right and continue parallel to the river, out towards the industrial areas. The lighting is a little lower out here, but then again, there are fewer people. And I need to go fast. As the road levels out, I pedal with increased fervor. My stomach cramps slightly. Maybe I'm pushing too hard. I grit my teeth and continue forward. But the throbbing in my stomach grows with every rotation of the wheels until it develops into a full cramp. I slam on the brakes and the bike skids to a stop. Ozone fills my nostrils. What the hell? I speak before I can stop myself. No sooner have the words left my lips than the tightening in my stomach turns into a full knot, and I let my bike fall to the ground. There, across the road. I can see it. The flickering rainbow of colors emanating from the windows of a nearby house. Colors that I saw less than a day before. The light emitted from the body of the snake. Vomit churns in my throat, but I swallow it back down. I need to confront this beast now. I need to know which of my memories is real. I rush to the front door and start to pound on it furiously, but there is no answer. Let me in! I must look like a madman, pounding on the door in this quiet street. But here the air feels thick, like in the classroom this morning. Like I'm stuck in some kind of bubble. I try to look at the houses around me, but they shimmer in the distance as far away on a hot day. Madness possesses me, and I kick in the door. It gives way easily, as if it weren't completely solid. Somehow it's not completely real. Inside the house, I can hear a sickening chewing and see the strobing flashes across the hallway. I charge into the house, hoping that I can save whomever is in there. I charge into the house, hoping that I can save whomever is in there, but before I can cross the threshold, the serpent appears at the end of the hallway. Get down! From behind me, I hear a girl's voice over the cacophony of the approaching serpent. My legs don't wait for my brain. They curl up beneath me, and before I can think, I'm crouching on the floor. A glass bottle sails over my head and shatters on the floor, spraying liquid everywhere. The serpent retreats briefly before charging directly at us, exposing its infinite maw and the rows of teeth that line it. It lets out a scream like a wave crashing over my head, and I clasp my hands over my ears to block out the noise. Oh shit, get out of there! By the doorway, I can see a small figure in silhouette beckoning me towards her, a glass bottle in her hand. Instincts kick in, and I dive through the door into the darkness of the residential street. I feel the serpent behind me, but the silhouette hurls the bottle over my head, and it shatters above the serpent. Momentum carries my roll across the lawn. As I tumble, I see the snake's body arch up and burrow into the floor. Like a switch, the sound of draining water is gone. The noises of a suburban street return, as does the panting of a girl out of breath. I turn to see the house, but the light is now gone. The front door stands intact as if nothing ever happened. I pick myself up from the ground, brushing blades of grass off my clothes. I approach the front door, my hand running over the solid wood that I had shattered mere moments ago. Like Max, someone died here, eaten by a giant snake. A lump starts to form in my throat. Then I feel a hand on my shoulder. So, is this our new routine? Who are you? And you saw it too? The tension in my gut starts to subside, and I realize that if two of us saw the same thing, then maybe I'm not going crazy. Well, at least not in the, did I really just see a snake eat my friend, crazy. Of course. But it reacted, right? To the turpentine. You mean that bottle? It seemed pretty pissed off. The girl seemed generally happy in an odd sort of way. She clenches her fist in a victorious pumping motion. She seems familiar, but I can't place her. So you know what's going on here? The girl stops her celebration for a second to look at me. She's wearing my school's uniform. Wait, you go to my school, right? The girl rolls her eyes. Yes, genius, I do. It's me, Michelle. I draw a blank. I might have seen this person in school, but she's somehow never registered in my brain. She seems short and dirty, her uniform muddied and probably torn. It's hard to tell in the moonlight. Sure, I'm Doug. She keeps staring at me. Did I say something wrong? Are you serious? Do you honestly not know who I am? Oh. You don't remember anything from last night. Sounds less like a question and more like a realization. Why would she know anything about last night? Before I can open my mouth, she waves her hand with a bitter smile. Haven't you heard of me? Everyone else has. I'm in your sister's class too, you know. Oh, really? No, wait, about last night. I remember some things. Like I have two memories from last night. One word, rainbow serpent. Excuse me? It's called a rainbow serpent. Why is she so upset right now? She seemed so friendly just a moment ago, and now she won't even look me in the eye. I don't get what her deal is. You really know nothing about all this, do you? Afraid not. If you can help me understand what the hell is going on, I think I can stomach her attitude. Well, I can tell you two things. One, you're not crazy, and neither am I. And two, it's not going to come back to this house. And actually, three. You owe me a hot drink. 2 by now if I'm keeping score. What for? For saving your arse? Twice. The last word is icy cold. What? Never mind. She sighs deeply, clearly disappointed in me. I only wish I could know why. She saved me now. Kind of. Did she do the same yesterday? No matter how much I strain my brain to remember, nothing comes up. Her face didn't awaken any memories either. The memories about the monster are true. How did I get back home last night? There's a diner near here. Buy me a coffee and I'll call it even. Sure. I collect my bike and push it as I walk alongside Michelle. Rainbow serpent, you say? Yes, rainbow serpent. You've heard of it, right? Or do you sleep through history class? I thought it was some kind of aboriginal legend? Bingo. But didn't it create the rivers and the land and then die or something? Did that look dead to you? I guess not. Michelle's standoffish nature rubs against me, so I decide to keep my mouth shut. Before long, the yellow glow of the fast food restaurant fills the road ahead, and we shuffle into the warm eatery. The cashier gives a look of disgruntled indifference, disappointed that we interrupted his mostly solitary night shift with an order. Steam curls off the top of the 2 cups as they sit on the cream-colored plastic table. I study the girl across from me. In the harsh fluorescent light of the restaurant, I can see that her uniform is quite stained. Like she's been crawling through undergrowth. It's not quite torn, but definitely well worn. Luckily, our school doesn't care too much about uniforms, else she'd be in trouble. What are you looking at? Nothing. Your uniform, I guess. Michelle checks herself, noticing the mud stains as if for the first time. It's a little dirty, so what? Nothing. I thought you might have been in an accident or something. No, just patrolling. Patrolling? Or the serpent. My mind instantly resets, forgetting about stories of muddied uniforms. Why do you call it a rainbow serpent? Because that's what it is. I thought that much would be obvious. And you've seen it before. Once. Well, 3 times now, but once before this week. It was a long time ago. But what is it? That? I don't know. All I know is that it eats people. And when it does, it's like they've never existed. Like Max. I choke up for a second before continuing. Last night it ate my best friend Max. We used to do everything together, but today no one even knew that he existed. Even I wasn't sure he was real until I saw that thing again. So you're saying that he was eaten and people forgot about him? Michelle shakes her head. No. More like he's never existed in the first place. People who get eaten, they are erased from history. Then why do I remember him? You touched the serpent, right? I'm not sure how, but that's why. I recall the intense sensations of the void from my contact with the serpent. It really did feel like there was some kind of distorted reality lurking within the beast. Does that mean you... Yes. Michelle toys with her coffee, rolling the cup between her 2 palms. It was my aunt and uncle. They came to visit us after we had moved here. The first night they slept in the living room. A weird noise woke me up and I went down, curious. When I got downstairs, I saw that terrible serpent eating them as they slept. I tried to stop it, but I couldn't. When my parents woke up, they couldn't remember my aunt and uncle were ever in the house, or that they had existed at all. My parents even showed me their wedding photos to prove it to me. They simply weren't there. They thought I was crazy. Both my aunt and uncle were deleted from history. That's exactly what happened to Max. When I went to his house today, there was some woman living there. No one at school remembers him, like he never existed. For years I thought I was the only one, that I had just made it up, that it was a dream. Is that why you go patrolling? Yes, I need to find it. But you've only seen it 3 times. Yeah, to be frank, I thought I was going crazy. Apart from William, no one else believed me. And he's not exactly what most people would call sane. William? Oh, he's a friend. Of sorts. Never mind. I decided to leave the subject alone. So how did you find me tonight? Michelle looks away from me, suddenly trying to avoid my questioning gaze. I just did, alright? The young girl sighs before turning back to me. Same as last night. Last night? Anyway, I saw the light of the serpent, so I went to check it out. She enters quickly, suddenly upset again. Talking with her is difficult. I feel like she'll bite if I word my questions wrong. But I need those answers. Desperately. And yesterday? Did you see what happened? Did you see the serpent eating Max? No, but I believe you. No one else will believe you. Ever. Except me. I guess that makes us Confederates, then. Michelle squirms in the cheap plastic-covered seat for a moment before answering. Those words seem to have cleared her sour mood instantly. I guess. So, what's next? Next? How do I get Max back? You can't get him back. He's gone. I don't even know who you're talking about, and I'm one of the few people on this planet that will even believe you. Once you're in the belly of the beast... She makes a disappearing motion with her hands. Just like that. Just like that. Depression washes over me as waves of memories with Max tumble across my mind. Memories that have been erased from everyone's history. Everyone's, except mine. I suddenly feel alone, tormented and alone. How can a great person such as Max suddenly cease to exist? Till now I wasn't ready to accept it, but seeing this dirty, matter-of-fact girl explain things somehow makes me realize that this is for real. Max is gone. Dead. Worse than dead. Erased. And I can never talk to anyone about it. I suddenly realized something. How long ago did you say your aunt and uncle were attacked? I didn't. But it's 5 years this summer. 5 years, she would have been about 10. You've never told anyone? Yes and no. When I told people, they thought that I was crazy. I didn't know if I dreamed it or not, so I kept my mouth shut. And went patrolling every night. Michelle nods, silently. 5 years. 5 years thinking that she was crazy. 5 years of sneaking out at night to go and patrol. 5 years of keeping your mouth shut about something you desperately needed to talk about. Dealing with the death of someone close is painful. Like a dagger in the heart. Even I want to curl up and cry for Max, but I know that I can't. Michelle never even got that chance. I recall the sheer terror that flowed through me when I saw the serpent. How on earth would a 10-year-old react to that? Words fail me. Well, thank you. You know, for helping me out. You're welcome. So, what now? Same as always. I'm going to keep searching for the serpent. And kill it. Kill it? This thing ruined my life. Yes, I'm going to kill it. How? I don't know. But I'm not going to find out sitting here. Okay. Calm down or they'll kick us out. My harsh whisper calms Michelle down, but I glance over at the counter. The soul worker is nowhere to be seen. We could probably start a rock concert and he wouldn't care about the noise. Michelle, however, takes this as her cue and calms slightly. Sorry, I'm a little excited, I guess. It is a wild story. I can understand why no one else would believe you. Well, at least now you do. I kind of don't have a choice at this point. Michelle swirls her cup before drinking the rest of the coffee. Thanks for the drink. At least tonight we saw that it reacts to terps. We? We're allies now, right? I gulp as I realize that I am being forced into a partnership with this ill-groomed girl. Allies. In any case, it won't be back tonight. Sure of that. We should get some sleep. Tomorrow is another day. Michelle seems a little too triumphant. Then again, after 5 years of self-doubt, it would be liberating to know that you were right all along. Patrolling, you mean? Of course. Partner. Partner. The word sits heavy in my mind. But if what she's telling me is true, and Max isn't coming back, then I think I could join her for some revenge. Where do we meet then? Don't worry, I'll find you. See you. Michelle lets herself out of the restaurant and dissolves into the inky black night beyond the external lights. I finish my own drink before heading out to my bike. The ride back to my house is painfully lonely, made worse by the realization that I can't publicly mourn my friend. Ever. What Michelle told me appears to be true. No one I know has heard of Max before. If a real person had died, everyone would gather around me and support me. I'd seen it before. When I was in year 7, a senior was killed in a car crash. The school practically turned into a therapy center for about a month. I didn't understand why at the time, but I do now. And yet if I bring anything up, I'm going to be sent to therapy. Not to grieve, but to cure my insanity. I sniff back tears as the wind streaks past my face. I hope that my eyes don't give me away when I get home. Thankfully, it appears that as the house is silent, so I manage to make it to my room without raising suspicion. I stare at the ceiling. It's impossible to get sleep. Any sleep, whatever. Tales of rainbow serpents mean nothing to me right now. I replay memories in my mind, trying to place Max's face front and center. The trees we used to climb. Jumping off rocks and into the river. Riding our bikes out to see the quarry outside of town. But the harder I try to focus on his face, the harder it gets to remember his features. I pull out my phone and try to find photos of him, but it's no good. Just as Michelle said, he's been erased from history. I know that I took photos of us last week, but now some stranger looks back at me from the screen. New timeline. New friends. What on earth is this? My frustration vents from my mouth involuntarily. I put the phone down on my bedside table and wait for the bluish glow to fade. My room is now practically dark, allowing my mind to generate its own images. I try to force Max's face to the fore, but it's a futile effort. All I see is the shifting rainbow of the serpent's skin. Its multiple blinking eyes. The rows of teeth framing its red, bottomless maw. I shudder. Adrenaline kept me from noticing too many details, but now as my mind recreates the scene, I have no choice. My grief begins to be replaced with terror as the image swirls around my darkened room. And that sound, like a contained tsunami combined with a thunderstorm. An eternal torrent of noise. I choke up a little as I realize that this would have been the last thing that Max saw in this universe. He must have been terrified. Lone and terrified. I squeeze my eyes shut and curl up into a ball on my bed. I can feel tears well up behind my eyelids, but I pay them no heed. All I want right now is to hold someone, anyone, and to have them tell me that everything will be alright. That this is a bad dream, and that this Michelle was conspiring to make me feel bad. But deep down, I know the truth of my new reality. Max is dead, and I couldn't even lay a finger on the beast that killed him. I couldn't even warn him to run. I feel powerless. Useless. Scared. Now I understand Michelle's passion. At 10 years old, alone, she wouldn't have had the benefit of self-control that I have. She must have been driven crazy by not knowing what was real and what was implanted by that serpent. At least I have that advantage. Michelle. She said something about someone else. William? Doesn't sound like any name I've heard before. In any case, Michelle is the only person for now that can understand what I'm going through. Not that it makes sleeping any easier. I take some deep breaths and somehow manage to get my silent sobbing under control. Get it together. Getting depressed isn't going to help anyone. That beast is out there, and it's going to keep doing this to other people until we find a way to put a stop to it. That's what we'll have to do. Tomorrow I'll find Michelle and extract every bit of information from her that I can. But until then, let me mourn my friend. Figured I hadn't made a save at all. I should probably... The lunch bell rings out, drowning our math teacher's explanation about quadratics. Thank heavens for that. The crowd of my classmates seems somewhat odd to me. Their faces are familiar, and they all seem happy to talk to me. But somehow I'm simply not interested in them. It's like I don't even have enough energy to even talk to them. I join them in the quadrangle as we eat our lunch, but I can't get into their conversations. Playful banter simply doesn't excite me anymore. I can't get their jokes. Thankfully, my cloudy attitude leads them to partially ignore me. They acknowledge that I'm there, but they don't try to drag me into the conversation. I swallow my tasteless sandwich in peace. As much as I don't want to be with my friends, I didn't really want to deal with that voice today either. Psst. She's not going to go away. I turn to a classroom window which has been cracked open and see a finger beckoning me towards it. Shoving the remainder of my sandwich in my mouth, I head towards the window. You're not very good at being discreet, you know. I don't care, but come in here. Give me a second. I scoop up my bag from the ground and wave to my collected friends. Going to the loo. Back soon. They barely register my feeble excuse before returning to their vapid conversation. Ignorance is bliss, I guess. Seeing the classroom practically empty makes it seem somewhat surreal. You know we're not supposed to be in here during lunch? Michelle's little head peers up from behind a desk at the back of the room. Exactly. Less likely to be disturbed, right? She stands up, a cheesy grin on her face. Surprisingly, her uniform is clean, and her hair less tangled than it was last night. Does she start every day looking like a normal student and then get progressively grubbier during her patrols? At this point, it doesn't bother me. I suppose you're right. When you said you'd find me, I thought you meant after school. I couldn't wait. Well, I guess this is a little less weird, but we should keep it discreet. It would suck if people started to talk about us. Why? Have you got a reputation to protect? Don't want your friends thinking that you're hanging out with a younger girl? Her candid attitude puts me off balance. That's not what I meant. Only, you know, people talk. It's a small town here. Nothing much happens, meaning that every little action can become a rumor that spreads like wildfire. I prefer to stay under the radar, drifting through the town until I can escape from here and make something of my life. Whatever, let them talk. We have more important things to discuss. Like... tactics. Tactics. We need to kill that overgrown worm. We don't even know what it is, let alone how we can hurt it. Terps. Terps seem to bother it. I mean, last night? Seems more like you pissed it off instead of hurting it. Are you sure it wasn't just the bottle you threw at it? It's more than you did. I didn't have much time to think of anything. And it's better than trying to wrestle it. She's right. My charge in and start throwing punches tactic hasn't really helped. Okay, what are your suggestions then? Not sure. But I realized that maybe William would know something. That's why I came looking for you. William, you mentioned him last night. Who is this guy? A friend of sorts. I found him on one of my patrols, passed out. I helped him out and he was grateful. We started talking. I'd bring him food and he'd listen to my stories. Wait, bring him food? Yeah, bread, fruit, that kind of thing. I don't mean tell me what food means, I mean why would you need to bring him food? Oh, he's homeless. I'm not sure where he gets his food from, but he always seems hungry. I resist the urge to roll my eyes. Of course, the grotty weird girl has a homeless friend. Maybe he was the only one she could talk to without calling her crazy. Like, things might be bad with her, but she could at least be superior to one person. Great. William the hobo. And how exactly is he going to help us? Does the serpent only attack people with homes? Shut up, leave him alone. You don't know him. Kate. Maybe I overreacted. But the point still stands. You've mentioned him before, but haven't given me any details. William is an elder. At least, that's what he tells me. You mean an aboriginal elder? Yeah, what else? What else? When I told him about the attack on my aunt and uncle, he said it reminded him of the stories he heard as a child. So that's why you call it the Rainbow Serpent. That's what he said. He knows it from some old legend. Michelle seems genuinely happy to tell this story. It's almost as if having someone hear her out is enough to cheer her up. And maybe this William guy was the only guy to listen to her for the last 5 years. Even if he was just some bum who wanted attention. Ew. The thought of a young girl hanging out with a homeless old man conjures thoughts too horrid to explain to my mind. So you and he are friends? Just friends? We talk. Sometimes. When I can find him. He's usually on the edge of town, though, so we don't see each other often. He doesn't like coming into the city, even if he could find food and somewhere to sleep. Try to get him to stay at the shelter sometimes, but he refuses. So, you know, I leave him to his own devices. Sounds like a real fountain of truth you have there. Well, he knows more than you do. Michelle's expression tells me everything I need to know. This is someone that she is connected with. Insulting him is insulting her. Sorry. Maybe you're right. In any case, you think that he knows something? Wouldn't he have told you by now? Well, until the other night, I didn't even know if I had imagined everything. I couldn't remember the details. But now you're here, and the memory is fresh in my mind. You need to come with me. You've touched it more than I ever did. Maybe it'll help jog William's memory. I feel bad for hurting her feelings and insulting her friend, so I capitulate. Okay, I guess it can't hurt. Great, let's go then. What now? We still have half a day of school. And? Well, shouldn't we be in classes? There's a monster out there killing people and you're worried about your grades? Are you serious right now? Something about her fervor inspires me. In a way, she's right. Stopping a monster is more important than algebra. At least, that's how I see it. Well, I've got my stuff. No one seems to be paying attention to me today. Let's do it. Michelle brightens up and punches me in the upper arm. That's the spirit. Let's go. What about your stuff? Stuff? You know, books. Forget that. I didn't even bring them. With a laugh, Michelle twirls and heads out of the door, her gait confident. I almost have to jog to keep up as she unabashedly walks straight through the school's gates and onto the footpath beyond. I gulp slightly as I take my first step outside. I've not gone truant before. Not like I'm some kind of bookworm, but at the same time, I don't want to do anything wrong. But Michelle is right. What good will staying in school be if it allows a monster to keep on killing? Isn't that the bigger wrong, lesser of two evils kind of thing? I grit my teeth and let Max's memory inspire me. No one else should suffer that fate. Michelle is already a fair way down the footpath by the time my feet catch up with my brain and propel me forward. Michelle's pace barely lets up as she leads me to the east to the edge of town. The houses here are definitely of a lower quality than in the city center. They're made of the old asbestos-laced weatherboard that was popular in the 70s, but totally illegal now. It's a wonder that they still exist. Out of sight, out of mind. The lawns are overgrown and dried. Tufts of pale yellow grass jut out from the old brickwork at odd angles. There's even a car propped up on a cinder block out in one front yard. But not a person in sight. It's hard to tell if no one lives here at all, or they're simply used to hiding from the rest of the world. And you say you come here often? Not really. Only to meet William. He told me that I would have more luck finding the creature near the river than this far out. He said the serpent is a water spirit. Or maybe he just didn't want this crazy girl hanging around him. Given my brief interactions with Michelle, that could easily be a possibility. Especially for someone who didn't know that she was telling the truth about the serpent. Then again, water spirit, that seems to make sense. Is that why he lives here, away from the river? Michelle shrugs. I guess. He pushes through the lawn of one of the old houses and into the undergrowth beyond. The dirty uniform begins to make sense. Looks like he should be here. In for a penny, in for a pound, I guess. Great. Coming. I follow through the narrow gap between some dried-out vines that are choking the life out of a pair of trees. Inside is like a cave. The vines have arched over the trees above to form a natural canopy. The ground has been cleared, leaving only bare dirt. A blue plastic tarpaulin is stretched between 4 trees to increase the protection from the rain. Beneath it, an aged sleeping bag sits atop what looks like a yoga mat, surrounded by candy-striped plastic shopping bags bulging with odd shapes. The stench of dried urine and stale wine permeates the air. So this is the spot. Before I can finish my thought, the sleeping bag quivers and I jump slightly in shock. William, it's Michelle. You'll never believe what happened. Oh, little one. Been long time since I seen you here. The tattered sleeping bag turns to reveal a man's face. Canyons of wrinkles stretch across his broad forehead, and his poor poked nose peeks out gently from a forest that is his white beard. but his eyes, small and intense, seem as sharp as anyone I've ever seen. His unnerving gaze lingers on Michelle only for a moment before turning slightly to examine myself. Who's this one, mate? That's why I came to see you. That's why I came to you. He's seen it. The serpent. It's back and it attacked his friend. We fought it last night as well. The sleeping bag rustles to the ground as William stands upright, quickly taking a step towards me and grasping my shoulders with an iron grip. She's not lying, is she, young'un? No, I've seen it too, I think. His movements have startled me, and for a second I can't even begin to think properly. If you asked me now to describe the snake, I would have trouble doing so. Deep down I wonder if it really happened at all, but then the sensation of vomiting bile returns. My mind is still organizing itself, shaking off the false memories that the serpent planted. Memories of a world without Max. A world where Michelle is simply a social outcast and where I remain a humble student. But these are the false memories I need to suppress if I want to exact my revenge. William shakes me briefly, rousing my senses. Boy, tell me what you've seen. Well, it's hard to explain. It was like a huge worm made of water, but like it was lit from the inside. And teeth. Lots of teeth. He attacked it with his bare hands. Twice. Brave one, eh? Not really, just reacting, I guess. I'm not sure why, but receiving praise from this strange man makes me feel bashful. So then, little one, looks like you ain't been fibbin'. The shock from William's questioning starts to wear off, and I remember why we came here. Michelle says you know what this thing is? Yeah, mate. It's the Rainbow Serpent. A Dreamtime story? William's large hand releases my shoulder to slap me square on the back. One's a smart one, eh? Sit down, young'un. Let me tell you the story. Doubtful that this man could teach me anything, I find an abandoned milk crate, turn it over, and sit on it. Michelle pulls a rock close to the crate and sits down beside me, perhaps a little closer than I would have sat next to her. Long, long time ago, in the Dreamtime, there was the Rainbow Serpent. Now that fella be making a mess around here, so old fella Nimbunji called up a Dirawong to fight the serpent. Dirawong chased the serpent, but that snake bit the Dirawong on his head. That's how that river down there be made. When the Dirawong got all better, Rainbow Snake had done hidden himself. Dirawong searched but couldn't find him. Some say the serpent be hiding to get stronger. And no one but a Dirawong can kill the serpent. William pauses, and it takes me a moment to realize that he has actually stopped talking. Not that I could make sense of the foreign-sounding names anyway. What's a Dirawong? My mouth has moved before I even realize it. Him be a goanna, mate. Him be a goanna, mate. Big lizard. That fellow's not been round here for a long time. You don't say. I don't know what to make of it. He sounds like the Aboriginal storytellers that came to school for cultural classes. The story could have been the same as any of them. Myths passed down through generations that had lost their original meaning. But then again, a giant snake did seem to be attacking this neighborhood. You know so much about this serpent and this Dirawong. Why haven't you seen it? Only dead men and heroes have seen those fellas. I ain't dead and I ain't no hero. Scan around his surroundings. He's right about not being a hero. It would seem that he only barely possesses the bare essentials for life here. Shell elbows me not so subtly in the ribs. You hear that? You're a hero, Doug. I certainly don't feel that way. Anyway, how do we know that this story has anything to do with what we're seeing? William approaches me. I can smell the day-old liquor leaking through his sweat. You seen a big snake, right, fella? With flaps of teeth and rainbows shining from his belly. And you touched him. Took you to another place, yeah? I'm taken aback by his proximity, afraid to answer. Without warning, he reaches out and grabs my shoulders. Feels like a lightning bolt shoots through my body. I did not mean to right-click. Memories suddenly become clear, and I can see the serpent. I can see the serpent with perfect vision. It's coiled laid on the floor before me in Max's house. Yes, sir. William closes his eyes and tightens his grip on my skin. I can feel a bruise already starting to form. My memory skips back and forth with every twitch of his hand, like someone skipping through a video. I see the serpent rear up and devour Max. Time skips forward and suddenly I'm leaping from the stairwell into the belly of the beast. I want to shut out the memories, but they're out of my control, and much clearer than they have been over the last few days. I see him. I see that fella. I see you jump into him. And your friend, Max, no longer in this world. He in that fella's belly for sure. Gone. William opens his eyes and releases his grip. The electric sensation leaves my body, and the memories slip back into my subconscious. A small campsite returns to my vision. That was intense. Yeah, he can be like that sometimes. Now do you believe me? I rub my shoulders gently to relieve the pain. Do I have a choice at this point? Either all of this happened, or you've got access to some serious pharmaceuticals. I study William again. His body might show the scars of a life lived roughly, but his eyes... His eyes contain some kind of magic. I'm not sure why I didn't see it before. They sparkle with some kind of inner light, a pale gold shining through his iris. So how do we kill the rainbow serpent? You don't. Only Dirawong can kill that fella. And Dirawong not been in these parts for a long time. Maybe he don't care for us people no more. Maybe he wants us all gone, so he letting that fella tear up the place. No, I heard it. We can do this. You can try, little one. But that fella older than you or me. Ain't no white fella gonna kill a serpent. You told me we could kill it. I don't tell you that. I tell you my story. You just heard what you want to hear. That's bullshit and you know it's bullshit. Tell him, Doug. Tell him what you saw last night. I heard it. Well, it did react. See, if it's made of water, then we just need to attack it with fire. You brave, little one. But don't get yourself killed. No other fella comes to visit old William these days. I'm going to kill it. Then I'm going to come back here and prove it to you. William does nothing but laugh, which sends Michelle further into a rage. I'm going to kill that fucker and then drag its corpse back here to show you. I'm going to save this town and everyone in it. Then we'll see who's laughing, you fuckwit. Michelle, I think you're taking it too far. Fuck you two. Michelle pushes me off the milk crate and storms out of the clearing. But I watched that young'un. Got a hot head. Do you really think that we can't fight it? Fight? Yes, ain't nothing on this world you can't fight. Kill? That's something different. Ain't got no idea what that fella doing back now. But he don't want you white fellas in that place. Best find out why. Or leave. William yawns, washing me in his halitosis-laden breath. You better get your girlfriend. Go to sleep. You're right. She was pretty pissed off. Good luck, brave young'un. See you next time. I have to run to catch up to Michelle. My body still feels electrified after the encounter with William. I still feel a little violated, like there's been an interloper snooping about in my mind. He was able to peer directly into me. I rub my shoulder again to try and shake the feeling. Before long, I can see Michelle, stomping towards town with a determined gait. Michelle, wait up. She stops indignantly and turns to look at me with disgusted eyes. He's lying, you know. He's always been a pain. What do you mean? He told me that one day I would win. Defeat that monster. And now he says it can't be killed? Well, he didn't say that. He said a Dirawong could. Dirawong might ours. That thing is alive, so it can be killed. I don't want to start a fight. Behind your annoyed facade, I can sense some kind of betrayal. I believe you, and I will help you, at least as much as I can. Her expression falters and her upper lip trembles slightly. Only for a split second, but I see it. Good. Thank you. You're welcome, but I have to ask you something. I try to work out how to phrase the next question. Has William been inside your mind? Huh? I mean, has he read your mind? Crept around in there? I tap her forehead as I say the words. Oh, you mean as he read me? Only once, when I first met him. Does this feeling go away? Which feeling? Like I've been violated? You've jumped into the belly of a phantom snake and you're asking me how it feels to be violated? But yes, it feels weird, but it goes away. I won't let him do it to me again, though. So that means that he really is who you say he is? Some kind of elder? Well, of course. Can you think of any other reason to go and see the guy? He's always drunk or asleep, or both. But when he puts on his eyes, none of that seems to matter. But there's a catch. When he puts on the eyes, he wants to read someone. And that's not going to be me. Eyes? I think I saw that. Some kind of golden shine? Yeah, those eyes. When he's got those eyes on, he's a different person. And a liar. He's a fucking liar. Okay, calm down. Let's at least find somewhere to sit and figure out a plan. Fine, but you're buying. Michelle turns from me in a huff, grabbing me by the hand and leading me down the back streets of the town. Part of me is embarrassed to be led around by this diminutive girl, but something also feels right about it. After the assault from William, it feels nice to be touching another person. It's a strange sensation to have to explain. But the fact that she isn't reading my mind right now is comforting. Before long, she has dragged me into a quiet corner of a cafe. He impatiently waves a hand at the waitress and orders 2 cups of coffee without even asking what I want. Once the waitress is out of earshot, Michelle leans in conspiratorially. You heard William. This is a water spirit. Water evaporates. Get it hot enough and... Michelle gestures an explosion. How hot is hot enough, though? I don't know. You're the science guy. Science guy? What gave you that idea? Your sister says you're always studying, so I guessed. I scoff a laugh. I study because I suck at science. If I were good at science, I wouldn't be freaking out about exams. Could you stop being so useless? Useless? You threw terps at a ghost. Our protagonist is Bill Nye. It reacted, didn't it? Okay, I'll give you that. But it didn't catch fire. What, the serpent? No, the terps. Turpentine doesn't spontaneously catch fire. You need some kind of a pilot light. Pilot light. Right. The waitress approaches and Michelle cuts her train of thought. At least she has enough sense to not discuss arson in public. I thank her, and to my relief, she departs the table quickly. After you left, William told me something else. He said he doesn't know why the serpent is back, but he seemed to imply that it had a reason. Maybe we can find out why it's here, of all places, then maybe we can stop it that way. You don't even know where it will attack. How do you think we can work out what it wants? Shouldn't we try to find some kind of similarities between those attacks? Like something connecting the people it killed? You really are a genius, aren't you? What do you mean? Anyone eaten by the serpent is gone. Poof. From history. Apart from your friend and my aunt and uncle, we don't even know who's been killed. And even if we did know that, there's no record of them left. Anywhere. Now I understand why you need to study so much. Getting dressed down by Michelle hits home. Of course we know nothing about the victims. Maybe that is part of the point. You're right. I searched through William's words to try and find any shred of an answer. William said that we might not be able to kill it, but we can fight it. I think that's the only real choice we have, right? We only have... I think that is the only real choice that we have, right? If we're fast enough, then maybe we can at least chase it off before it kills anyone. Oh, no, I'm gonna kill it. That is for sure. There's no other option. Some way or another, I'm going to kill it. She truly is a madwoman, but somehow I can respect her for that. At any point, she could have given up and hidden this monster from her world. Gone about her life in any way she wanted to. But she is facing it head-on, regardless of the odds. and it's clear to me that she won't stop fighting until the serpent, or herself, is gone from this world. A real battle to the death. Okay, count me in. Really? I knew you'd see it my way. Do you think we can get William to help? That old drunk wouldn't step foot in the city even if you paid him. Says that his people never came down to the riverside in these parts. They thought it was haunted. Well, they're not entirely wrong, you know. I suppose you're right. In any case, we have to go to him if we need him. He won't come to us. That's a shame. He seems like he could be a help. I suppose. But we fight with what we've got. We know it doesn't like terps. Maybe need to set it on fire next time. What, you mean you're gonna run around with a Molotov cocktail and hope we find it? It'd never work. You're right. Michelle grabs her chin in contemplation and takes a sip of her coffee. But it does give me an idea. Are you coming tonight? Coming where? Patrol, you dummy. Oh, right. Sure. Come to your house at 10. Be ready. Somehow I don't like the idea of her arriving unannounced on my doorstep. I'll have to try and interdict her before anyone else notices she's there. Fine, I'll come out to you. Just wait across the street and I'll be there. Good. I've got to get ready, so I'll see you there. Right? Right. And with a flash, Michelle is gone, leaving me with a tab for her coffee. I guess it's not the worst thing that could happen. I resist the urge to go back to William. I want to quiz him on as many things as I can, but the lingering sensation in my mind dissuades me. Maybe he really is just a madman living in the woods. Maybe I imagined him reading my mind. Michelle could have easily told him what to say. The light in his eyes could have been the sun's reflection. I don't know what to think anymore. When I was with William, I thought that my memories were clearer. But now, back in the real world, I'm not so sure. Like that tree cave in the bush was like a bubble around a different world. A similar feeling to the bubble around the house last night. In any case, I'm committed to going out tonight. If I don't, Michelle will beat down my door to get to me. I can't have that. Dad is on my case enough as is. If he thinks that I'm wasting time on a girl, one in Natalia's grade no less, he'll flip. Then again, I don't want to be dragged into an unwinnable battle. Maybe if we find out what the serpent is looking for, then we can give it what it wants. Their way to bargain with a mythical being? Might be better than throwing our lives away fighting ghosts every night. There is no way I'll be able to pass my finals if I'm not at home. But stopping the snake feels more important than that right now. I try and drive thoughts of exams and school from my mind. This overgrown worm is a threat to the town. Who knows who could be next? What if it took Natalia? Or Michelle? Somehow I don't think that I could forgive myself if it attacked either of them. Newfound resolve charges me from the inside out. William could be wrong. If we try hard enough, we could find out a way to kill it, or at least chase it off. It only means that Michelle and I need to put our heads together and see what works. Maybe tonight I'll speak to her about what she's tried so far. Part of me starts to get excited. I almost want it to attack again, so we can learn more about it. And somehow, kill it. I managed to get home before Mom or Dad. I'm hoping that the school didn't notify them of my recent truancy. I'm not skipped out from school before, so I'm not even sure if they'd notice. I know there are kids that do it all the time. If they did make some kind of notification, then they couldn't get away with it all the time. Right? I throw my bag on the dining room floor and open the fridge. William's cave was a long walk from home. Yeah, I was waiting for him to have the revelation like, wait, I feel awful for thinking that because then someone else is gonna die. I was definitely waiting for that. I pull a bottle of orange juice from the fridge and slam it shut. And where were you? Shit, Nat, you scared me. What do you mean? Don't try and hide it from me. I know you skipped school. Her eyes cut shreds off me. I've never been able to lie to my sister. At least not with any efficiency. Yeah, I needed some time to think. About this Max nonsense. I wince at the mention of Max's name. Know that it doesn't matter how many times I explain it. She'll never understand. Yeah, kinda. Think maybe I'm just overdoing the study. Maybe. Natalia doesn't look convinced. Sure, I've been pulling long hours in the past trying to study, but she also knows me. I'm not gonna stay up too late. Fine, have it your way. Somehow, I've dodged a bullet. But... or maybe not. Did you leave with Michelle? Michelle Simon? From my class? I try not to choke on my juice. Why would you think that? She was in class up until lunch, but then the two of you were nowhere to be seen. Same with yesterday. She disappeared after you left. Are you two, you know, like dating or something? This time I really do choke on the orange juice, the tart liquid clogging my sinuses. What? No, it's not like that. So you are leaving with her. Damn, she's good. Well, yes, but it's not what you think. Two teenagers leaving school at lunchtime. You have a hard case to defend there. I know how it looks, and you're right, I've been leaving school with Michelle. But we're not together. Nothing like that. She's trying to help me. My brain races to complete this sentence. Sort out what's going on in my head. Doug, don't you start smoking weed. Hard enough living in this shitty town without you starting to smoke like the rest of them. I knew she was a bad influence. No, that's not it. Michelle doesn't smoke either. Then why is she so weird all the time? That's a little harder to explain. But she understands what I'm going through. She believes me. I want to believe you, Doug, but you're acting crazy now. You know that, right? You need real help, not advice from the class weirdo. Real help can't help me now. Bullshit. She's dangerous, you know. A bad influence. You want a girlfriend, ask me to help. Anyone but her. What have you got against her? This is a side of Natalia that I haven't seen before. She's usually positive about everyone. I've never seen her get this worked up about anyone before. And even though I have my own doubts about Michelle, those empty insults irk me. I don't have anything against her. But I tried to get close to her, but I couldn't. She pushes everyone away from her. She's nothing in common with anyone. It's not you, Doug. Part of me wants to fight back, but when I see how concerned my little sister is, I can't help but concede. Maybe you're right, but maybe she's just a little misunderstood. In any case, we're not dating. It's more like hanging out, I guess. Natalia's expression softened slightly, but I can still see the concern in her eyes. I think that you shouldn't do that. Nothing good can come of it. I wish that she wasn't like that, but she is. And you've been so weird recently. I don't want you turning into her. I stifle a laugh. I didn't know that Natalia had a side like this. And again, I guess it's my fault. I can't explain anything to her. Maybe I could try. A shudder winds its way down my spine. What if explaining it to her makes her a target? I couldn't live with myself if I made Natalia a target of the serpent. What if Michelle's actions don't kill the serpent, but piss it off? What if it comes for revenge? I feel that too familiar bile rising in my stomach. Feels like it's eating away at my soul at the thought of losing my family. I need to make sure she doesn't get dragged into this. Don't worry. I'll protect you. Huh? Doug, you really need some help. You want me to help you talk to Mom and Dad? Nah, that's not it. I think I just need some rest. You're really beginning to worry me. Can you at least promise me that you won't, you know, do her? What? No, of course not. Well, that's something. Well, that's at least something. And no drugs. None, I swear. If I found out you're lying to me... Natalia holds up a fist in a challenge, but I can see that she doesn't mean it. The concern hasn't left her eyes. Look, give me a week. If I can't work anything out in a week, you can tell Mom and Dad everything. Skipping school, Michelle, I'll even do a drug test. But I need you to at least give me a week. Okay, 1 week. That's it. I pull her into a quick hug, rustling her hair in the act. I knew I could count on you. You're a clown. Talia pulls herself away from me and leaves the kitchen for her room. The bile starts to subside. I bought myself a week. It's not much time, but we need to start moving fast to understand the serpent. If anything happens to Natalia, then I'm going to jump into that snake's mouth and destroy it from the inside myself. I sit in my room, staring blankly at my textbooks. Polynomials simply don't seem real to me anymore. A mythological creature is suddenly taking up more of my headspace than the real world in front of me. Any other day, and I'd assume that I was high or something. But this is real. Too real. William's reading has brought clarity to my memories. I can clearly see the wash of the serpent's colors blitzing across my mind. And those teeth. Infinite rows of teeth drag its victims down into the gulf of its belly. It terrifies me. Part of me wishes that it ate me as well on that fateful night so that I wouldn't have to think about it. Pull yourself together. I guess, in a way, I'm a chosen one now. There's no backing away from that. The snake could devour everyone in this city, and no one would be the wiser. It can't let that happen. The thing is clearly alive. It has some form of purpose. We can't kill it. We can probably limit the damage. Maybe chase it out of town. I need to learn more about it. There's nothing helpful on the net. The Dreamtime stories are just that. Stories. Legends. Centuries of mistranslations and interpretations have left them as nothing but fables. Tall tales of creatures crawling across the land, carving rivers into existence and turning themselves into islands when they die. And the rainbow serpent is one of the most widely spread legends of them all. I try looking for William's Dirawong, but there's even less there. A goanna that fought the serpent and got bitten. Hardly helpful. That worm barely even has a head to speak of. Only those red eyes and limitless teeth. I shut down the computer in disgust. I'm not going to be finding any answers on Wikipedia. If we want to defeat this beast, we're going to need to do it ourselves. Michelle has been chasing this thing for years. Maybe she has more up her sleeve. But then again, she seems a little unstable. A little untrustworthy. Sometimes I get the sense that she's got some kind of ulterior motive for hanging around me. That killing the serpent is secondary to some other agenda. Never mind. I have my mission. I need to stop the serpent for good. Do whatever it takes to make sure that it doesn't erase everyone in this town from history. Or the world. What if this beast was the beginning of the end of humanity? Could it eat its way through to the last human? I shudder at the thought of a lifeless world, spinning through the universe without a trace of humans ever existing. Not even ruins to show that we were once here. My phone vibrates, startling me a little. It's time. 9:45. I don't want Michelle knocking on my door, so I lock the door to my bedroom and creep out the window. The sun is set, and I can feel the spring air already cool around me. Not quite cold enough to warrant a jacket, but enough to be slightly uncomfortable. I sit under my windowsill, watching the streets for an approaching girl. My mind starts to wander again, but this time it's about school. I never really skipped out on school before. I thought the world would fall down around me, but I guess they don't care. Our learning is our own responsibility. That's what they say, at least. Teachers seem happy to put effort into the kids that want to learn. They save their energy on those that don't. Check my phone. Michelle's late. Didn't expect that of her. It's not until 10:10 that I see a shadow shuffling around the corner of my vision. In the dark of night, I finally see Michelle, a large bundle slung over her shoulder. She looks like she's struggling. I don't want her causing a scene near my house, so I rush towards her. What have you got there? Nothing. Supplies. It doesn't matter. I smell turpentine and kerosene on her. Can we get going? I was thinking that we needed to cover more ground, so I took these. Proudly hold up my dad's car keys. You're going to get murdered by your own father. Forget worrying about the snake. You're gonna do this and get killed by your dad. If we want to catch this beast, we need to move fast. What do you think? Michelle looks ecstatic. You can drive? Kind of, I guess. Does that matter? It's more important, following the rules or catching this fucker. Michelle purses her lips and nods in approval. Good. This is good. Let's do it. I quietly enter the car as Michelle loads her bulky supplies into the boot. I hear sloshing and clanking, but I don't risk asking her about it again. So long as the car doesn't stink when I put it back tonight. I've only had a couple of practice drives with Mom, but I think I had the hang of it. And the roads are mostly empty at this time of night. So long as we don't get pulled over, we should be okay. Michelle finished fiddling at the back of the car, takes her seat and closes the door. I was thinking we could go to the top of that hill near the river and keep an eye out. If we see anything, we can speed there. Sound good? Michelle is still excited. Sure, beats walking. Wonder if this little bit of larceny will let her keep her tattered uniform from getting any worse. I'm not sure why I care about that, but for some reason I do. I think Natalia is overreacting. Michelle has been through a lot in her life. Of course she seems withdrawn and weird. Anyone who's suffered that kind of trauma at such a young age is bound to have some kind of mental issue. But if we at least succeed in subduing the serpent, maybe she'll be able to get some kind of closure. Be able to break free of the shadow that has been cast over her life. Just as it has mine. In the end, I really do feel connected to her in a way. Right then, let's go. I fearfully turn the key and shudder as the ignition starts the engine. I really hope that Dad doesn't notice. He would be furious. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Ease on the accelerator and the car lurches out of the driveway and onto the road. You sure you know how to drive this thing? Yeah, I'll be fine. I nurse the car along the empty streets towards a small hill overlooking the houses lined up along the river. When I was young, there was a big flood every other year, but then the government strengthened the dam upstream. Since then, there haven't been any major floods. They had to release some water from time to time, but it seemed to be under control. As the danger subsided, people started building closer and closer to the river. New developments popped up to support the town's growing population. Rows and rows of identical kit homes. A few of my friends from school lived in them. The houses always smelt new. Like a new car smell. House edition. Wonder if you can buy it in shops. Oh, you really can see most places from up here. Michelle peers through the windshield as I park the car on the side of the street and shut down the engine. How long do you think it would take us to get to those houses if we saw it? I don't know, maybe a couple minutes. I have never driven from here to there before. Michelle seems to sigh a little. Well, how did you patrol in the past? I had a route. I'd leave home and then I'd walk around the town. And if I saw anything, I'd chase it down. Did that work? I guess not. Then again, I found you, didn't I? I suppose you did. Does she mean the last time we saw the serpent? Somehow I feel like that's not the case. Maybe because I can't figure out the meanings behind that sad note in her voice. I shake my head slightly. It's not that important. We need to get more systematic. If we want to work out the serpent's motive, we need to know where it's attacking and why. If we don't know who it is attacking, that will be harder. You're right, but how do we do that? Not sure. Maybe we need to start making the attacked houses on a map? See if they line up? Michelle reaches into her pocket and pulls out her phone. You mean like this? Shows me a map app with 3 pins on it. I thought about that, but I can't see anything. Can you? She's right. I was hoping they would line up or something. With only 3 points, it's a little hard to work anything out. I guess we need to wait until we get a few more points. As much as I hate the thought, perhaps another attack would help us unravel the mystery a little further. Any other ideas? Michelle seems genuinely interested in hearing my thoughts. None for now, sorry. Tried looking up the stuff that William was saying, but it's all pretty vague. Each tribe seemed to have its own version of the Rainbow Serpent story. None of them seemed real. You know, when you hear a legend that was at least partially true, you can kind of tell. Like stuff around solar eclipses or floods or comets. But the Rainbow Serpent almost always seems like some kind of pure fantasy. Like the Greek gods. I think I know what you mean. So I really have no idea why this beast is here now. For real. Maybe it's always been here. Huh? But then we would have heard of it, right? Michelle rolls her eyes. The serpent deletes you from history. Totally. So if it ate everyone in this town, no one would ever know. Realization hits me like a freight train. Maybe this town is just the most recent in a never-ending loop of towns that were settled, devoured, and forgotten. And no one would ever be the wiser. This mythical beast could have been here all along. But then why would it allow the town to get this big? I don't know. Maybe it needs to eat a lot. Said you've been patrolling for, what, 5 years? And it never attacked in that time? And now twice in 1 week? My mind spins as I try to find the pattern that I know is hidden out there somewhere. Well, it's not like I could have covered the whole town every night. I might have missed it. Besides, I don't see you doing anything much. She looks genuinely upset, as if I've insulted her. I reach across the car and put a hand on her shoulder. I didn't mean it like that. Only that if it was waiting for enough people to feed on, why did it only attack once and then wait 5 years? Michelle's mood lightens, only a little, but at least she calms down. Maybe you're right. Her gaze lingers on me for a moment before returning to scanning the town before us. I decide to leave the harder questions about rainbow serpents for the moment, and join her survey of the scenery. We sit in silence for some time before Michelle's quiet voice startles me slightly. I think I remember him, you know. I look at her expectantly, frowning. She shoots me a nervous glance but quickly turns back to the windshield. Couldn't have meant Max. I suddenly feel so happy, as if he came back to life with those words. The serpent has failed. He has not been erased. Someone else remembered him as well. But how come? He knew Nat, but I don't think he hung out with anyone else from her class. Michelle lets out a short laugh. He hit on your sister, didn't he? My mouth opens and closes without a word, but I can't help but smile. Michelle chuckles again and continues talking. She must have noticed that I want to know more. Talking about Max puts me in this weird mood. Fresh grief mixed with relief. If only you knew how many boys come over just to say hello to her. It's hilarious. Anyhow, I didn't talk with Max much. We met in the library. He noticed that I was writing something. Don't laugh, okay? He pestered me about it, and I let him read it. At first he was being a dick, but when he realized that I was getting seriously upset, he changed his tone. He gave me some advice, told me which parts he liked. I guess he was trying to be nice to a weirdo sitting alone. Michelle shrugs, finishing her story. Ha! I can't manage anything else through my tightening throat. He gave her some writing advice? Seems like I had even more in common with Michelle than I thought. Silly fan fictions we wrote together. Were they still in that box behind my wardrobe? Did they disappear with him? Michelle awkwardly pats my back, and I realize that I'm on the verge of tears, just sitting there. A painful smile plastered on my face. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't have brought him up. No, it's just a weird feeling, but not a bad one. I guess I'm glad that someone else remembers him too. We'll avenge him, don't you worry. Her battle mode is back on, and she pats me for the last time, stronger. I nod, returning the wicked smile. He certainly deserves it. And I'm sure he wouldn't want anyone to get hurt either. I couldn't save him, but I could still prevent another disaster from happening. Just as I feel my motivation growing, Michelle lets out a yawn. Looks like we're out of luck tonight. It's warm in the car. It makes me sleepy. But yeah, maybe you're right. I fire up the car again, the engine loud in the still of the night. An uneventful patrol, but at least that means no one had to die tonight. Tomorrow, maybe we should bring a laptop so we can look up anything that's changed in the last few years. Sounds good. You want me to drop you off at your place? Nah, that's okay. Your place is fine. I'll walk from there. Okay, suit yourself. But can you look after my stuff? I almost forgotten about the bulky bag in the back of the car. Sure, I'll put it in the shed. Great. I pull the car gently into the parking space in front of our house. Hopefully no one will notice that I couldn't line it up too well. Same time tomorrow? Sure. Michelle flashes me a smile, then jogs off into the darkness of the street, leaving me to hide her equipment. I take a peek inside the sack, but all I can see is a collection of pipes and bottles. I'm sure it makes sense to her. I stashed the sack in our garden shed, then slipped back in through my window before tumbling into bed. My head feels a little clear even as I drift off to sleep. Another human being remembered Max. He existed. He was my friend. I did not make him up. Confirming all this makes the pain of the loss sharper, but I can't help but welcome it. Better than the confusion I've felt for the last couple days. And I can't help but feel grateful for Michelle for it. Before I can even close my eyes, I hear a light rapping on my door. Come in? Natalia creeps into my room with a stern look upon her face. A sense of guilt washes over me. I can see it in her face. She knows what I've been up to. Look, I can explain, just not now, okay? No, it's not okay. You have a chance to do something with yourself. And you're throwing it away on that girl. That's not what it's about. Trust me, if I didn't have to go out, I wouldn't. But this is something that must be done. Natalia puts out her hand for me to stop, her face quivering with a combination of rage and tears. Stop. Just stop. You don't know what you're getting into. She's really disturbed. There's rumors that she killed a snake in the schoolyard and cut it open. You could do so much better. I'm conflicted. Part of me wants to defend Michelle, but I can't do that without making Natalia think that I'm crazy. And what excuse do I have for sneaking out at night to see a girl if we're not dating? Natalia has put me on the spot, and I have nowhere to go. Look, how about you tell me all you know about her? Natalia nods and sits down on my bed, the sprung frame creaking at the weight of two people. She's always kept to herself. No one knows why. Even in group work, she does the bare minimum to not get in trouble, but that's it. She's absent all the time, just doesn't show up after lunch or comes in late. Sometimes you can tell that she hasn't showered. She has to do a presentation, it's always on some weird shit. One time she lectured us on Aboriginal culture for a science presentation. That doesn't make her a bad person. Natalia shakes her head. You don't get it. Some people are weird, some are shy, some are just stupid. But she's malicious. I can't explain it, but there's something in her eyes. Like you read about with serial killers. I resist the urge to laugh. Natalia is clearly taking this seriously, but at the same time she's going over the top. What if I'm wrong about Michelle? Natalia has known her longer than I have. She just appeared in my world for a few days ago. Natalia would have been dealing with her for years. And I still have no idea exactly what I have stashed in our garden shed. But I know for sure that it is related to her obsession with petrochemicals. Doubt begins to creep into my mind. What if her contact with the serpent has turned her into a psychopath? Or is that the fate of everyone that stares into the infinity within that beast? I shudder at the thought. Then I remember her awkward smile and pat on the back when she was talking about Max. The self-mockery when she admitted to everyone thinking of her as a weirdo. She wasn't twisted. She was just a regular girl. Tormented by a past she could not explain to anyone. If she wasn't there for me, if she hadn't explained to me all those things about the serpent, I'd probably just go mad myself. But Nat would never understand that. No matter what I say, she's known Michelle far longer. There's no way I could convince her. I can only try to put her mind at ease. I don't think it's that bad. It's what everyone says about those murderers. He was such a normal guy, we never suspected anything. Well, that might be true. But it's not like we're dating. We're working on something together, but I can't tell you about it. Once that's done, we're Splitsville. Promise? What's something? I can't slip anything past her. Nothing. I can't tell you. You wouldn't understand. Try me. My mind races to find an excuse, but nothing but flimsy half-truths come to mind. Something floats to the surface. It's half-arsed, but it'll have to do. It's the Duke of Edinburgh's award. The what now? The Duke of Ed award. Remember? They did a presentation at school earlier in the year? You do a bunch of things and you get a certificate. It helps you get into some universities. It's like Scouts, but without the uniforms and salutes. Glad I remembered that much. I only attended the presentation because Max thought it would be a good way to skip an English lesson. We goofed around at the back of the hall until it was over, grabbed our bags, and left without signing up. You need to do a volunteer thing, so Shell is helping with a Meals on Wheels thing. I trail off, watching Natalia's face for a reaction. Deadpan eyes look back at me. I can see her processing the thought. Finally, she answers. So you're doing this to get into uni? Feeding the homeless? Yeah. In the middle of the night? Well, yeah, when else could I do it? With a psychopath who barely says a word to another person in school? I saw her there and asked how I could help out. Don't use that word. Silence again fills my storage room and / bedroom. Just do a /. You have text. Just do a /. Don't... We've made allusions to this bedroom already. Just use a /. I can see Natalia poring over my lie, looking for a crack in the armor. For a moment, I think that she's going to call my bluff, but her shoulders finally sag in defeat. Look, I don't know what you're going on about, but you haven't been yourself this week. Like, it's a real use of the word, because there's summa cum laude. It's pronounced cum, so... but, like, you could just do a /. Acting like a maniac, sneaking out at night. You're just not you recently, and you're scaring me a little. If something were to happen to you, I don't know how it could go on. I can see she is holding back tears. I can sort of see where she's coming from. I'm sure that she's getting the suicide watch lectures in her health classes, and that's probably playing on her mind. Not that we know anyone that has committed suicide, but then again, there's a first time for everything. You don't have to worry about me. I'm doing all this so I can get out of this backwater town. I want to go to a big uni somewhere and do something with myself. It's from Latin, but it doesn't look right there either, yeah. Like, it doesn't look right, and it's weird with the illusions cast on this bedroom already. Just do /. So I need every boost I can get. Better to wrap a lie in some truth. I want out of this place, but at the same time, I haven't really done much towards that end. And now I'm fighting some phantom lizard with a psychopath. That doesn't seem like a wise career path to me. But it's something that needs to be done. And maybe a psychopath is what I need to help me do that. Okay, just get away from Michelle as soon as you can. Get this Duke of whatever thing out of your system, then get away from her before she gets attached. I promise. I'll hold you to it. And don't you dare sleep with her. I feel my cheeks turn red hot as I blush at the suggestion. Never! You don't need to worry about that. Okay. Good night. Night. Natalia stands up from my bed, sending squeaking creaks throughout the silent room. As she disappears into the hallway, I ponder her concern. Sure, I haven't been myself, but she's normally never said anything bad about anyone before. It's unnerving. So far, I've blindly followed Michelle's direction. Maybe she's been wrong about this the whole time. Maybe she's leading me astray somehow. Or that there's some ulterior motive to her actions. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to her a bit on tomorrow's patrol. Natalia doesn't know the whole story. How could she? And without that, of course someone like Michelle would look like a psychopath. But then again, killing snakes sounds like something she would do. I lay down and pull my blankets over me, hoping that sleep will swallow me quickly. Ooh. I don't kind of understand why he went about it that way. Like, sure, you can't tell her about the snake, but you could tell Natalia about, like, yeah, I've been talking with her, and she went through a lot when she was growing up, and, you know, I've learned more about her. Maybe she's not as crazy as she seems to you, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. Again, I don't know, maybe he's not thinking correctly. He did encounter a giant water snake, so... Tomorrow is another day. Another chance to find out what that snake is up to. Try and put an end to it before anyone else is to be trapped in this limbo. But my mind refuses to calm down. I am treated to swirling images of rainbow-like skin, and of a firebrand girl hurling bottles of chemicals around the place. I wrestle the monster again, watching Max die on the side, his face bloodied. I keep struggling, but there's just no use. I have no control over what's happening, and I can't save him. The fire dies down, and the darkness surrounds me. Only the gurgling of water remains, filling my ears. And suddenly, I can see someone above me. A washed-out memory resurfaces as I drift off into sleep. A young girl checking my forehead, asking if I'm fine. Her voice seems familiar. I try to see her face in the darkness of my room, and finally, I notice the faint outline of Nat's cheeks, her mouth twisted with worry. She sits by my bed as I fall asleep, watching over me. Yeah, she did witness her aunt and uncle die. You could just say that. Sitting in the silence of the darkened car is uncomfortable, but somehow I feel that talking to Michelle would be even more so. Natalia's impassioned pleas ring heavy in my ears. Perhaps she's right, and Michelle is a dangerous person. But until the serpent is dead, she's my only ally. After this is done, one way or the other, we'll part ways. I'll go back to my studies, graduate, and find some nice university on the other side of the country. Maybe get a night shift job to have some spending money. Party away the memories of supernatural beings. Sounds nice. If it were true. Deep inside me, I can see a future where I do nothing but fight this snake until I die. Every night, charging into battle with an immortal enemy, till finally it gets the upper hand on me, and I disappear from history. It's a depressing thought. I sigh in frustration. You're not yawning, are you? What? No. Just thinking. About what? Nothing. The future, I guess. Michelle's eyes narrow. There is no future whilst that thing is around. In a way, she's right. The serpent is like a boulder sitting on the train tracks of my life. Before we met, I was cruising along a pretty well-defined path. Now, until it is cleared from the tracks, I'm going nowhere. Through that, silence descends upon us again, and our gaze stare out across the small patch of the town. I can see the lights in the houses extinguish one by one as people tuck themselves into bed. The subtle blue glow of TV sets in darkened rooms. I think about the lives being lived in there. The kids in my class that are probably still awake, studying. The elderly, already fast asleep. How many couples are out there, before me, losing themselves in each other's bodies? And yet, here we are, a couple of kids watching over a town that doesn't even know it needs protecting. Why couldn't this have happened to anyone else? There! Michelle's shrill voice stares through the air. See it? I squint through the windshield, trying to follow her outstretched finger. I don't really... Where? Who cares if you can't see it? Who cares if you can see it? Let's go. Michelle's orders run directly to my brain, and before I know it, I'm turning over the ignition and driving mindlessly. Where to? Down by the river, near the parkway. Move it. I aim the car towards the town and head down the hill. Out of the corner of my eye, I think I catch what Michelle sees. A spear of multicolored light bursting from the windows of a house. Flashbacks of Max's house replay through my mind, but I force them from my consciousness. I see it. Michelle unclips her seatbelt and clambers into the back seat. What are you doing? Preparations. You drive. Let me deal with this. I see her slender frame reach over the backseat of the car in my rearview mirror, but I can't see what she's doing. All I hear is her grunting and swearing under her breath, and the thick smell of kerosene. It would appear she's graduated from turpentine. Thankfully, the nighttime streets are empty, allowing me to speed through the town towards the parkway. Bile builds in my stomach. I taste ozone over the petrochemical smells Michelle is producing in the back of the car. We're on the right track. I push through the sensation and take the turn to the parkway a little too fast. Watch it, idiot! Michelle curses as her body slams against the side of the car. Sorry, I wanted to get there as fast as possible. Are you ready? You bet I am. The rising sensation in my gut reaches a crescendo as I see the house appear before me. It's a 3-story house, and the serpent's technicolor aura is pouring from every window. Leave this to me. Is she gonna set the house on fire? Michelle tears open the car's rear door before I can even stop the vehicle. She's carrying some contraption made of pipes and tubing, around which is a faint glow. You can't be serious. I rip up the car's handbrake and charge out after Michelle, but I'm too far behind for her to stop. She's already entered the house. I feel myself enter the serpent's bubble, and time seems to freeze. I plunge into the gut-wrenching blackness of the house. Whatever Michelle is carrying casts flickering orange shadows across the entranceway. Oh, she made a flamethrower. Come on out, motherfucker. Instantly, the hallway is filled with a strobing, colorful light, and the serpent's head punches through the wall. Michelle throws a lever on her contraption, and a plume of fire and smoke erupts from her makeshift flamethrower. The bright orange light challenges the serpent's own glow for dominance in the small space. An ungodly sound tears through the house as the flames lick over the serpent's body, and it recoils through the wall from whence it came. Smoke alarms instantly add to the noise with their shrill cry. Puddles of fuel, still flaming, line the hallway. I can feel the effect of the serpent starting to slip away, like a bubble collapsing in on itself. Die! Michelle opens up her flamethrower again, drenching the hallway in flames and fuel. But I know the serpent has already left, and history is rewriting itself as we speak. We need to go. Never! I'm gonna kill this fucker tonight! The smell of ozone disappears and my stomach begins to settle, but still the flames begin to grow. There's a subtle pitch in the tone of the fire alarms as the bubble finally collapses, leaving us alone in reality. Michelle! It's gone! You're burning down the new house! I can't get through to her. I rush forward and feel the intense heat from the fire against my bare face. The smell is awful. Kerosene mixed with the nauseating smell of burnt hair and carpet. I gag at the combination of odors. As I reach Michelle, the plume of flame seems to waver, shrink, and stop. I grab her by the waist and pick up the girl, flamethrower and all, and drag her from the inferno. The makeshift contraption is leaking fuel. We need to get out of here before we're both burned alive. Michelle kicks and screams against me, and I can begin to hear noises from the outside world. The reality bubble has collapsed, and the house is still on fire. Bleeding fire alarms are still screaming. We have gone from demon hunters to arsonists. We need to leave. I double down on my strength and drag Michelle from the house. I'm leaving now. If we get caught, we're both going to jail. Coming or not? Michelle, her eyes narrow and furious, snarls at me. Why did you stop me? It was gone! You're burning down a house now! What if there's still people in there? Fuck them! Nothing matters but killing that snake. They can burn for all I care. That was right. I curse myself for speaking, but the words slip out of my mouth. What did you say? Michelle's stare freezes my heart in place. Veins bulge on her forehead and her mouth pulls back at the corners, revealing her teeth ever so slightly. Nothing. We need to get out of here. We need to kill that thing. I thought I could trust you. And I thought you would be a rational person. Someone is going to notice this fire soon, and we need to be gone before they do. I'm leaving. Are you coming? As much as I am terrified of Michelle's animalistic expression, what we have done here is a crime. In the real world. There is no history erasing here that will shield us from the consequences of burning down a house. Michelle stares at me, her breathing fast and shallow. I see her nostrils flaring and chest rising in time. What would Max say to all this, huh? You no longer want to avenge him? I grit my teeth as she mentions Max's name. Of course I do. My best friend. But I doubt he'd want me to burn somebody's house in the process. The serpent is gone! Get out of here! We should talk about this tomorrow. I leave the fierce girl on the lawn of the glowing house. Black smoke is starting to billow out of the windows. It will only be a moment before someone looks outside and sees it. They get my number plate, then I am a dead man. The key slides into the ignition and the engine cranks itself into life. Michelle's terrible stare never once leaves me as I pull away. She needs to get out of there. If anyone sees her with that makeshift flamethrower, she'll have no excuse. I only hope that she is sane enough to run from the scene of the crime. Stopping the serpent is priority number 1. But that is impossible from within a jail cell. If the only way to stop it from killing people is to sacrifice innocent people, then what is the point? But my voice won't reach Michelle now. She's well beyond reason. When she calms down, we can think about discussing it again. As I drive away, I can see the yellow-orange glow of the burning house start to stain the sky in my rearview mirror. Part of me secretly hopes that Michelle didn't make it away in time. That she gets caught and somehow doesn't implicate me in the process. Fighting the serpent alone doesn't really appeal to me, but if Michelle acts like this forever, it'll be impossible. Somehow I managed to drag myself out of bed. I'm not used to this small amount of sleep. Combined with the stress and exertion of chasing the serpent, it's starting to make me feel groggy every morning. I guess you could call it a ghost hunting hangover? Whatever, doesn't matter. All I need to do is make it to school. And probably find a place to nap if I look hard enough. If the school is okay with truancy, then they should be fine with someone catching some Z's. I brew a pot of coffee. The dribbling sound of the dripping liquid into the glass pot is loud in the morning. Doesn't take long for there to be enough for me, so I hurriedly pour a cup. I throw in an ice cube or two to take off the edge, then take a deep draught. Lukewarm caffeine soaks my esophagus and starts my body ticking. I hope Michelle got away last night. There were sirens blaring all through the night. Must have been a hell of a fire. Anyway, what's done is done. We can't take that back. As long as no one saw us leaving the area, then we should be fine. Good morning, sleepyhead. Didn't expect you to be here before me. Ned helps herself to some cereal and some orange juice from the fridge. Should I pour you a cup? I'm fine with juice, thanks. She's yet to develop the unhealthy addiction to coffee that seems to fuel the rest of the family. Between Mom's shift work, Dad's late nights, and my studies, the rest of us find it hard to make it through the day without some kind of help. But Natalia is still a kid. She doesn't know what it means to need coffee to even hold a conversation. I'm jealous of that. It won't be long, though, and she'll be like us. A half-dream from last night comes back to me, and I suddenly feel grateful for her presence. Nat is my anchor in reality, always there to catch me when I'm falling. Still not sure about the memories about Max's death, but maybe, before the reality overrode itself and removed him from history, she helped me yet again. A feeling of gratitude and guilt washes over me, and I try to smile despite my fatigue. Yeah, well, you know, study and all that. Early bird gets the worm. Lying to her is painful. I can see her scrutinizing me. I know she wants to say something, but she lets it slip away from her. You're right. At least that's what I'm going to start telling myself. Talia sits across me and whips out her phone, scrolling through it with her left hand as she shovels the cereal with her right. She slurps the milk a little. I'm sure Mom would complain, but she hasn't joined us for breakfast in weeks. Most mornings it's just Nat and I, sitting in silence. Like strangers on a train. The thought of that alone stirs me into action. You want to go to school together? I want to find some way to tell her that maybe she's right about Michelle. Maybe she knows some way to control her, or at least some kind of ways, and get her to listen to me. Love to. Can't though. Have an excursion today. Excursion? Where to? The dam. It's for geography. Water supplies and the like. Natalia is clearly distracted by her phone. Her usual prose has been clipped into short sentences. Oh, right. Have fun. I'll have to find some other time to talk. Chances are I won't see Michelle until tonight anyway. Can wait. Oh my god. I start at Natalia's sudden exclamation. What is it? It looks like there was a fire downtown last night. Didn't take long for that news to break. And the people inside died. I swallow hard to prevent my panicked heart bursting from my chest. Died? Here, look. Natalie passes me her phone. An article from the local newspaper flashes across the screen. The remains of 2 people. Full investigation. Chills run from head to toe, and I can't stop myself from shaking. Are you alright? Did you know them? No. The words somehow creep out by themselves. My brain is frozen, trying to process what happened. Scroll down slightly to find a photo of the house, surrounded by fire trucks discharging their hoses into the flaming building. There is no mistake. That is the house that Michelle and I were in last night. We're murderers. Murderers. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. I wanted to kill that beast so that no one else would need to lose anyone. And yet we've ended up becoming killers ourselves. I lose the fight with my stomach and vomit starts to race towards my head. I barely make it to the sink before the black coffee I drank a moment ago is spiraling down the drain. Are you okay? Natalia jumps and grabs my shoulders, patting my back instinctively to help calm my stomach. Yeah, fine. You don't look fine. It's okay. Coffee didn't sit well with me is all. Try to hide my dry retching from her as I sit back down. Maybe you should skip school? Get some rest? Part of me agrees with her. I want to run as far as I can from this town and everyone in it. Especially that maniac Michelle. You should have listened to me. I told her that the reality bubble was collapsing around us, but she wouldn't stop. She just wouldn't stop. And now 2 people are dead and we're going to be under suspicion. I don't want to go to jail for life. As opposed to live a comfortable life. Study hard, get into some kind of university. Get a job, find a wife, have some kids. A normal, boring life. Because of that lizard and the maniac, I'm going to rot in jail. A wasted life. I want to cry, but I can't let Natalia see me like that. It's not fair to her. I take a deep breath to settle my stomach, then look her in the eyes. It's okay. I'm fine. I drank too much coffee on an empty stomach is all. Well, look after yourself. I can't look after you today. Gotta run. We have to be there half an hour beforehand. Sure, sure. Natalia throws her unfinished cereal to the sink and chugs her orange juice. Well, see you after school. She's bought my story, hook, line, and sinker. I guess she's happy about the excursion. And even a sick brother could get her down. On the other hand, I need to be at school. If I start to act suspicious, then maybe the police will be onto me even quicker. The article didn't mention that they were treating it as arson yet, so maybe there's a chance that they won't work out that it was us. Or maybe I should simply go to the cops directly and report Michelle. 2 birds with 1 stone. No. The serpent has caused enough damage. We need to stop it. We'll work out how to contain it or how to kill it. And once that is done, I'll hand Michelle over to the police like the killer she is. Maybe they can get her the help she needs. Maybe not. Either way, she won't be my problem anymore. We just need to kill that monster and be done with it. The school seems somewhat peaceful with Natalia's grade missing. Shouldn't make this much impact, but the school isn't too large, and groups tend to stick to their areas on the quadrangle. There are noticeable gaps where there should be students talking and playing. The silence isn't helping to dull the roaring cacophony in my mind, though. I should have stopped Michelle. I could have, had I tried. Or tried to rescue the people that were inside. Too busy getting out of there to do anything about it. I know what she was aiming for, but now there are more deaths due to the serpent. It's supposed to save people, not kill them. Somewhere, out there, is someone who's going through the same pain that I did when Max was eaten. That hopeless longing feeling that gnaws away at your stomach, churning it in ways that you thought were impossible. The sense that you're never going to be able to feel happy again, that the memories of that person will fade. You'll forget their face, their voice, their everything. After the last person left forgets you, did you ever exist in the first place? It's a hard thought to process. Until that creature is gone from this town, this will continue. The means may or may not be justified by the end, but we've already come this far. To give up now would make every death pointless. That's why I'm here, sitting in the subdued schoolyard, pretending that everything is fine. I need to avoid raising any suspicion until the serpent is dead or gone. After that, I'll wear my punishment. Of course, I'd prefer not to go to jail, but some things are more important than your own comfort. Who knows how many hundreds of people the serpent has erased from history? If I can at least remember Max... Ooh. And maybe I can also remember the others. I might not know who they were, but if I can remember Max for as long as I live, then I feel that I'm remembering them all. At least in part. I take a deep breath to calm my nerves. There is not much that I can do here at school. So I'd head to the library. Maybe I can look into the legends of the Rainbow Serpent. Maybe I can find a clue there. Something that will help us fight it for real. Michelle seems to be at least on the right path. The fire did get some kind of reaction from the beast. Maybe we need to contain it somehow. Trap it so that we can burn it hard. I traipse up the library, my soul heavy, but with my head still in control. Gotta keep it cool and make it look like nothing is going on. Still a chance that no one saw us at the house that burned down, and that they'll never find us. After all, the people that died there didn't exist until last night. There's nothing that connects Michelle and I to the crime. The school's library is even more sedated than the yard. Yes, not many people use physical books anymore. There's a kid using one of the computers in the corner, but apart from that, it's a ghost town. I tried Googling the serpent before, but there wasn't much online. For this, I think I really need to hit the books. The Aboriginal history section of the library is laughably small, but then again, it's more detailed than the Wikipedia articles. I pull out a book about the Dreamtime and start flicking through the pages. Dot paintings from ancient caves stare back at me, as the dry text goes over the tales that I recall from my history classes. The rainbow serpent was one of the Dreamtime creatures that carved rivers into the landscapes of Australia. Each tribe has their own Dreamtime story, and yet the rainbow serpent seems to show up in all of them. The story changes depending on the part of the country. Around here, it decided to hide itself, and it became an island somewhere off the shore, never to be heard of again. Unfortunately, none of this is going to help me. None of the stories seem to have any information about fighting the beast. Maybe I need to speak to William. I consider skipping out from school, but it will have to wait. I need to avoid drawing attention to myself today, and tomorrow, every day until I'm either arrested or until the serpent is neutralized. Till then... Douglas Lovett, report to the principal's office. The PA message shakes me to my core. I feel my heart start to race and sweat well up in my pores. I thought I was ready to accept my punishment, but I'm not. My throat closes and I find myself gasping for breath. I know that I need to calm down, but I can't manage to get a hold of myself. Visions of being dragged away in a cop car flash before me. My mother in tears, my father's disappointed face. The life that I never knew. My brain screams at me to run, but my body instinctively follows the instructions from the disembodied voice. I stand up and walk, haltingly, towards the principal's office. I rap lightly on the door, and the principal, ashen face, beckons me into her office. Douglas, I don't see any police. And there's something about her face, her expression. My nerves might be getting the better of me, but something is wrong. Instincts are screaming at me in a confusing chorus. I don't know if I should run or sit. Please, sit down. I have some bad news. The penny drops. This isn't about me. But that means... I sit down. There's been an accident at the dam. Her words are drowned out by my heartbeat, now deafening in my ears. Nat. Is Nat okay? Your parents will pick you up from here and take you to the hospital. My body is trembling and I feel weak. Is Nat okay? Is my sister okay? I don't realize it, but I'm screaming. The principal doesn't answer, but her face tells me the answer. She'll be okay, right? Right? I'm sorry, but your parents will be here soon. They should be the ones to tell you. The scent of disinfectant. The bustle of people shuffling around the waiting room. That damned incessant beeping. Why isn't anyone talking to us? I'm still shaking. Dad picked me up from school in a taxi. He was as white as a ghost, and silent the whole time. I don't think he could speak even if he tried. Mom was already at the hospital when the accident occurred, but since she was a relative, they wouldn't let her in. An orderly showed us to the waiting room. I could tell from their face that it wasn't good news. Slowly we began to piece together some of the story. The Year 9 class had gone to the dam for their field trip. It was a standard thing at our school. We learned about hydropower and the water cycle. But somehow Natalia had gone beyond a barrier and fallen. She was airlifted out by helicopter, and we were all dragged here in a rush. But it's been an hour now, and we haven't heard anything. Mom is furious. Every 5 minutes she storms up to the nurse's station, demanding answers. To their credit, her colleagues don't buckle. Frustrated, she gives up and returns to her plastic waiting room chair. I've gnawed my nails down as far as I can. Blood leaks around their ragged edges. Dad hasn't moved since he sat down. He's literally petrified of what comes next. I can't believe what is happening, even though at this point we all know in our hearts what the result will be. Part of me expects a surgeon in tattered scrubs to come bursting through the door at any moment, beaming at us, telling us that we can see her now. And that Nat will be lying on a hospital bed, bruised and sporting a drip, but smiling faintly back at us. I want that so bad. But my heart is filled with doubt. Every time the door swings open, my head snaps around like a meerkat, desperate for some news. And yet, when the news comes, I didn't even hear the operating theater's door open. Oh, shit. He hasn't said a word, but his stance, his face, his eyes. His eyes tell me everything I need to know. Mum collapses on the spot before he can even open his mouth. Dad doesn't react. He's a statue, incapable of thoughts. I'm sorry. My knees go weak. Even sitting down, I can feel that my joints won't support me, so I stay put. Mum begins to wail. The duty nurse rushes to her, but Mum pushes her away. She stumbles away, her cries fading only barely as she disappears from my sight. We tried everything, but it was too late. Dad stands, shakes the surgeon's hand, and walks out of the waiting room without once opening his mouth. My mind is racing, trying to think of a way out of this. It can't be real. We were talking at breakfast. She seemed just as happy as ever. She's dead? The surgeon nods grimly. I'm afraid that the fall was unsurvivable. I shouldn't have asked. If you didn't confirm it, then maybe I didn't have to know. But like Schrodinger's cat, I've opened the box. Till I asked, there was a slim chance that she was alive. By asking the question, I feel like I've sealed her fate. My mind goes blank. I can't think. Like my brain has stalled permanently. Then one by one, images start to come into my mind. Watching her graduate from high school. Catching up at New Year's because we're going to different universities. Nat at her wedding day. Me looking after her kids for an afternoon. My stomach turns at the waste of life, the things we won't get to do together. Before I know it, my mouth is moving. How did it happen? The surgeon sits on the seat next to me, putting his arm around me. We're not sure why, but she had crossed a barrier. She fell down the face of the dam. Chills raced down my spine. All I can imagine was how afraid she would have been as she tumbled through the air. The pain of impacting with the dam wall on the way down. How lonely she must have been, lying in a crumpled heap at the bottom of the concrete structure. I let out an involuntary gasp as I replayed the ordeal again and again in my head. She would have lost consciousness straight away. There would have been no pain. I know that he's trying to comfort me. As an emergency surgeon, he must have had to break the news to other family members in the past. It could be true, or he could be lying. Either way, his words provide a small blanket of comfort. Here, take this. He hands me a handkerchief. I didn't realize it, but tears have been pouring down my cheeks. Thanks. I dab away the tears, my body running on autopilot. Let me get someone to call a cab for your family. It's best that you all go home and stick together. Hospital's counselor will be in touch with your mother. If you have any questions, you can call them. Thanks. The surgeon pats me on the back reassuringly, but I barely register the gesture. Images of Natalia tumbling like a ragdoll over the edge of the dam replay constantly in my mind. I shudder as I feel the impact as if it were my own body. And I can't get her face out of my mind. Her smile, her laugh. All gone. And for what? Just what was the purpose of her life? To be squandered like this? Max, if you're out there, I could really use a friend right now. He rang? Max, clear as day, is sitting beside me in the waiting room. You look bummed. What happened? Natalia, she's dead. Like you. Ouch, that sucks. You alright, bro? Alright? Best friend and my sister are dead. How the fuck am I supposed to be alright? Whoa. Okay, dude. Chill. Just trying to lighten the mood. Sorry. I'm kind of stressed right now. I can imagine. How are your parents? They're both broken in their own ways. I don't think they can handle this. And you? Just can't stop thinking about how scared she must have been. Lonely and scared. They brought her here, there must have been some signs of life. None of us were here for her. She died without any of us being able to do anything for her. Damn, that's dark. You don't seem okay at all. I don't know what I am right now. Well, I know one thing. And that's that you need to get out of here. Hospitals give off bad vibes. And your mom looks like she needs some help. I pull myself out of my own head long enough to look at my mother, who is still sobbing on the floor. Her colleagues are giving her some distance, watching with respectful and remorseful faces. Somehow I manage to drag myself to my feet and walk over to her. Mom, I'm sorry. She doesn't say anything but clutches my legs. I can feel her body shift as she tries to calm herself down with deep breaths. Slowly she stands up, using my body to steady hers. I can only imagine what she's thinking. After working in the emergency ward for more than 2 decades, she must have seen her fair share of trauma. Now it's personal. Her only daughter has been taken away. Let's go home. She nods at me and I wrap my arms around her waist. We support each other towards the door, to the taxi waiting beyond. How many times do I have to tell you it's not your fault? Not for me, not for Natalia. There was nothing you could do. I know he's trying to make me feel better, but I'm simply not in the mood. I only want to lie in my bed until sleep finally comes to me. Dad vanished almost as soon as we got home. I have no idea where he went. Mom opened herself a bottle of wine, drinking it alone on the kitchen table with her tears. I can't bear to talk to either of them. I don't even know what I'd say. I know I should say something, but the words are knotted in my throat. I don't think that I could speak without breaking into tears. None of us have had the courage to go into Natalia's room yet. It simply doesn't feel real. Every scuffle from the kitchen makes me think that she's come home, and this is just a bad dream. But it's not a dream, is it? This is as real as it gets, my friend. I know, but it shouldn't be like this. Then what should it be like? I don't know. You, Natalia, you should both be here. Just everything the way it was. Maybe you flirting with her or something. Max leans back on my desk chair, his hands clasped around the back of his head. I don't want to get more water because I don't want to, stop because I don't know how much more we have left. It pisses me off that you can be so relaxed about this. Of course I'm relaxed. There's literally nothing that can hurt me now. Unless you get a lobotomy. Please don't get a lobotomy. I twist away from the figure, trying to hide Max's visage from my sight. But there he is, next to me in my bed. Dude, you can't get rid of me. I'm here now. Talk to me, okay? Fine. What do you want? I want you to know that it's not your fault. There's nothing you could have done. And there's nothing you can do. The pain will subside when you learn to let go. I close my eyes and try to ignore the phantom. I don't want the pain to subside. I don't want to forget. I don't want to give up. I jump with a start. That was a real noise, not a clinking of Mum's glass or a phantasm in my bed. My eyes snap open and focus on my room's tiny windows. Let me in. I don't want to see anyone now, least of all Michelle. I contemplate locking the windows and ignoring her, but maybe the company would do me good. I look around the room. Max is nowhere to be seen. Reluctantly, I throw the catch on the window and Michelle lets herself in. Thanks, it's cold out there. Sure. My voice is barely above a whisper. Michelle takes a moment to start the conversation, and I wonder if she came here looking for consolation as well. She always spoke highly of Nat. She obviously knows at least about the accident. So, what's our plan for tonight? I figured we'd better discuss beforehand. But no. Michelle only has eyes for the serpent. I should have known that much. She really is mad, isn't she? I'm not in the mood. Mood? Mood? Mood has nothing to do with this. We have a monster to kill. You and I, we were supposed to be a team. Inseparable. Supposed to kill that thing together, right? I just can't tonight. Can't stop thinking about everything that's happened. And whose fault is that? Mine? No, it's the serpent. The serpent did all this. We need to kill that motherfucker right now. But I need your help to do that. You can't kill it. We can't kill it. It's pointless. You just let it eat us and be done with it. Michelle's backhand burns across my cheek. Can you even hear yourself? You're not that kind of person, Doug. You don't give up. I know it. The fuck do you know about me? I know that you want to see this fucker dead. You don't think I know about loss? I never let that stop me. Sure, it sucks about Nat, but it's just you and me now against this thing. That hasn't changed. We need to make it pay for what it's done. You and I. Together. Changes her tone and looks at me sheepishly. It's not about the serpent anymore. Don't you want that? What did you say? Michelle sits down on the bed, leaning backwards and drawing me towards her. Confused, I feel myself following her out of instinct. Part of me yearns to be held right now, for some human contact to remind me that I'm still alive. Just you and me. Together. Do I have to get the sensor out? Before I know it, she's kissing me, and my body relinquishes. I kiss her back, and the feeling of touch jerks me back to reality. My consciousness starts to rearrange itself as cold realization coursed across my skin. I don't want to think about Natalia anymore. I mean, I want to remember her, but I need a distraction. I can't shake the image of her tumbling down that dam, no matter how hard I try. I don't feel like drinking, but a certain rage begins to boil in my belly. That lizard took Max from me, probably Natalia as well. I need to make it pay. Michelle lets go of me, her face flushed and gaze slightly muddled. We need to kill this thing. The sooner the better. She's right, you know. Max reappears at the corner of my vision. I try to focus on him, but I can't. You can't change the past. It's set in stone. Once something has happened, it's happened. But you can get revenge. Kill that serpent. Avenge me. I sigh in resignation. I'm trapped. There's no way backwards, no path to the side. I'm locked on this course of action. If I give up now, all of those who have died will be in vain. Killing the serpent won't bring Nat back. Or Max. I know that, but it will at least prevent anyone else from having this same torment. But for now I need an ally, even if she is an arsonist. My mind is made up. There will be time for grief later. For now it's time for action. Let's kill this motherfucker tonight. Michelle smiles triumphantly and pulls me closer again. The town below me has never looked so uninviting. Michelle is sitting silently on the car's hood, her equipment weighing heavy in the car's boot. Every now and again, a tear starts to roll from my eye. I pretend that I have allergies so as to not to tip off Michelle. The last thing I want is her sympathy. Or pity. That's of course under an assumption that she's even capable of such feelings, which I doubt. It became painfully clear that Michelle's completely stuck. She won't move on unless the serpent is dead. That suits me just fine right now. There's nothing else I want or need. We're going to find this monster and stop it. Somehow, we'll stop it. There! Michelle's shrill voice pierces the blanket of silence. I follow her outstretched finger and see the serpent's aura streaming out of a nearby house. My only reply is to fire up the engine and speed towards the light as Michelle leaps into the passenger seat. I've thrown caution to the wind. If we get pulled over, then the flamethrower in the boot is enough to implicate us both. If we crash, then I'm going to sit here until I burn. That would be a fitting end to all of this. Don't be so hard on yourself. I ignore the Phantom. I don't need Michelle getting involved in this. After all, this is a monster that deletes people from history. What kind of chance do you stand against something like that? One wrong move and gulp. Everything you've ever done is unwound. You're gone. Forever. Like you never existed. I swing the car to the side and Michelle leans against her seatbelt. Max, however, stays put, his head between the driver and passenger seat, smug as ever. I get it. I was only trying to help. The Phantom disappears, and once again there are only two of us in the car. We round the last corner in the small residential street, and are greeted by the flashing cornucopia of colors from the houses in front of us. Let's get this son of a bitch. You've got it, partner. She leagues from the car and straps on her flamethrower, leaving a large satchel behind. Take that with you. What's this? Just bring it. Reluctantly, I lift the sack from the car. I'm surprised she was even able to carry it. It is incredibly heavy and smells of fuel. No, there is no way I'm going to carry this to the house. I leave the package on the curb and chase after Michelle, who's already inside the Serpent's bubble. The orange blast from her flamethrower partially drowned out the softer blues and greens from the Serpent. I rush inside to find Michelle even more unhinged than before. Did you bring the bomb? Bomb? The bomb! From the car. Are you insane? Haven't you done enough damage? You killed 2 people already with your stupid flamethrower. Are you kidding me? I didn't think you were this weak. You won't get anywhere if you just let your conscience stop you every single time. You either give it all and act or nothing changes. There's no room for hesitation, Doug. Your words make sense, but I still can't take a risk that big. There's no point in killing that monster if we need to destroy the city while doing it. But to Michelle, this doesn't matter. For her, only the monster exists. Everyone else is simply an NPC in her grand crusade. I just shake my head. That's why I saved you from the Serpent that first time. I saw a fighter. I thought that with you, we stood a chance. Michelle lets out some blasts from her weapon, and the Serpent retreats through a wall, leaving me alone with her. Should have realized that time would dampen that passion. No. What is she saying? It was Nat who nursed me after Max died. I remember that. I remember her worried face above my head. My throat tightens again when I realize I can no longer ask her about it. But on the other hand, I don't even feel the need to. I'm certain that Michelle is lying. She's trying to win me over with lies. It's a lie. It was Nat who saved me that night. I remembered that. You won't fool me. Came out like a hiss and Michelle opens her mouth, shocked. Say what? You only wanted to use me, didn't you? You're incapable of feeling anything except the hate for that stupid monster. That's all you are. What else did you lie about? The story about your aunt and uncle? Lonesome patrols every night since then? Was that a lie as well? I'd never lied to you, dumbass. The fact that you knew Max, that he helped you with your writing? Frenzied just a moment ago, Michelle freezes at those words. So it was true. She did lie to me. Told me what I wanted to hear to pull me closer and then use me. His hair. What color was it? Are you nuts? I don't have time for a quiz. Is it so hard? It's just one word. You remember him, don't you? Spit it out. I already know the truth. She has no idea who Max even was. Her nervousness is now obvious and painful to watch. As much as I hate to admit it, realizing that my only ally has become a traitor is excruciating. Fine. Black. It was black. I chuckle, but mostly out of pity for myself. How did I let her deceive me so? Did I need someone to talk to that desperately? Maybe I really am weak. It wasn't black. That was right. You're a liar and a psychopath. I felt bad for your tragic past. I felt connected because you remembered my friend. Those were just illusions you created to use me. I really should have listened to Nat. I'm such an idiot. Fine, I lied about Max, but I wanted you to feel better. There's nothing wrong with my intentions. You killed innocent people in their sleep, Michelle. You're no different from that monster. Did she tell you that? She put those ideas into your head, didn't she? Good riddance, then. What did you say? You heard me. Natalia. She was constantly getting between us. Bad influence, my arse. We have one job. Anything else is a distraction. My body reacts before my mind can catch up, and I've grabbed Michelle's thin arms, shaking her. What have you done to her? But she doesn't flinch. She only stares at me with glowering eyes. I didn't know you were so attracted to your own sister. This is a war. Everyone loses someone. Get over it. The only thing she did was divert you from our goal. Maybe now that she's gone, you'll finally realize what's important. Open your eyes, Doug. Open my eyes? Nat being a distraction? Give me a break. You're just crazy. She saved me time and time again. Without her, Michelle frees herself from my weakened grip. I don't know what to think anymore. Before I can react, the serpent's head bursts through a wall, charging at the girl. She reacts immediately and turns to intercept the monster. A gout of flame erupts from her weapon, and the serpent dodges upwards, burrowing into the ceiling. Its liquid body courses like a gleaming pipe between wall and ceiling, with Michelle coating it in flames as it passes. The sound of boiling water sizzles in the enclosed space, but the serpent seems to take no damage. Steam fills the room, reflecting the fire's fierce glow. The serpent disappears down the hall, and Michelle chases after it. Turbulent emotions strain at my head. Was the accident at the dam really an accident? Would Michelle? Of course she would. Even bat an eyelid when she found out she killed those people in their house. Who am I kidding? She practically admitted doing it herself. I can't let this go on. You seem like you need a friend about now. Max's phantom appears amongst the flames. I don't have time for your shit, Max. She's not gonna surrender, you know. Go away. I'm just saying. What do you really want to do? I want to kill her. To wrap my hands around her throat and squeeze the life from her. Then why don't you? No one would notice. If you left her here, she would burn with the house. You'd be off the hook for the arson, and she'd be dead. What difference would it make? You can't do it, can you? You can't bring yourself to kill someone, no matter how much you hate them. I want to fight with Max and prove him wrong, but he's right. After so much death, I don't think I want to see another body, let alone one born of my own hands. I knew it, but you know, there might be another way. Max's visage flickers and dissolves into the flames, which begin to rage in their intensity. Michelle charges back into the hall, her weapon belching orange flames. Make yourself useful and bring me that bomb. Fuck you! I was wrong to trust you. You should have never trusted anyone. A shimmering head slowly appears behind the raging girl. She dodges the attack and returns fire with her flamethrower. The serpent's red eyes begin to glow, and rows of teeth quiver in anticipation. My mind races. If the serpent devours Michelle, then she'll be removed from history. Poof. Gone forever. Present, future, past. Everything that she's ever done will be rewritten. I'd never have met her. We've never started chasing this monster. No flamethrowers, no innocent victims, no accident at the dam. It's okay. Save Natalia. It'll be fine. I'll be fine like this. Revenge never solves anything anyway. My mind is made up, and my body begins to act. I rush forward, tackling Michelle towards the serpent. As I connect, I can see her eyes widen in shock. The serpent reacts instantly, curling itself around Michelle's slender body, trapping her in a coil of pulsating phantom energy. Its head cranes up and over her, swaying gently as it positions itself for the strike. Michelle tries to struggle, but can't extricate herself from the serpentine embrace. What are you doing? You killed my sister. You murdered those people in that house. I'd rather die than myself than help you destroy even more. You fool, the snake will kill us all. Maybe, but at least I'll be rid of you. Fuck you. Fuck you all. When I get out of this, I'm gonna raze this city to the ground. I notice a change in the pitch of the serpent's gurgling, and it draws down until it is eye to eye with Michelle. Its red eyes meet with Michelle's furiously bloodshot eyes, and for a moment it's like they are communicating. Michelle's fury reaches a peak, and she managed to free an arm from the serpent's body, slapping forward and connecting with one of its eyes. The snake recoils and launches itself into the ceiling, releasing Michelle from its grasp. I can already feel the reality bubble starting to collapse around me. Inexplicably, Michelle is still alive. Alive and furious. She reaches for her flamethrower and toggles the trigger, but the device only lets out a faint hiss. It was destroyed by the serpent's crushing grip. Michelle throws the useless device to the ground and screams, You traitor! You'll pay for this. You'll all pay. Michelle storms past me, shoving me against the wall as she does. I want to stop her, but I can't. My knees are weak and my throat tight. My entire energy reserve has been sapped from me. Instead of chasing her, I fall to my knees. Tears that I've been suppressing since Max's demise flow freely from my eyes. Here on some stranger's floor, I find myself unable to move, sobbing like a baby. I've lost. We've lost. We never had a chance to defeat this monster, and now it's taken everything from me. I just want to lie here until it comes to consume me and remove me from this wretched life. Come on, you fucker. What are you waiting for? I know you want me gone, so come and finish me off. But I know I'm not that lucky. If it didn't want Michelle, then it won't want me either. We're both cursed. Somehow, we're not part of the Serpent's grand plans. After who knows how long, I managed to crawl outside the house and back to my father's car. Michelle's remaining equipment is gone, but the car remains. Defeat washes over me. I sit in the driver's seat, afraid to turn the key. I don't know how I can face my parents, let alone myself. Maybe I'd really be better off dead. I wish it were raining. Till today, I've always imagined that funerals only took place in the rain. But instead, the sun is shining bright, and the cool spring breeze comfortably wafts between the assembled onlookers. A sea of sad faces in their best clothes. Soft sobs from children who aren't yet capable of understanding what has happened. Mournful adults shaking their heads and repeating platitudes about how it was a life taken too early. And here I am, waiting silently for the hearse to arrive. Dad stands next to me, dutifully shaking hands with everyone that comes to offer condolences. He thanks them, but I know what he's thinking. He would give all he had to be anywhere else in the world. Mum is trying to contain herself, but her constant sniffling tells the truth of the matter. People from my class stand around nervously, not knowing what to say to me. They roll out the tropes I've seen on TV. I'm sorry for your loss. She was taken before her time. If there's anything I can do... Sweet nothings said in a time of crisis. And me, I'm furious. Furious that Michelle put me here. Furious that I was powerless to stop her. She's now on the loose, probably making someone else's life hell. Furious at the Serpent for throwing me into this situation. If only I didn't leave my phone at Max's house that night, and let the Serpent go about its business. I would have been as clueless as the rest of the people gathered here today. But I'm not. Everyone else thinks about today as the end of a tragic accident. But I know the truth. And I can't tell anyone. Natalia was murdered in cold blood. Murdered so that a psychopath could chase ghosts. There's suddenly a shift in the crowd, and I look towards the cemetery gates. The unmistakable shape of the hearse is winding its way towards the chapel. My heart stops. I thought I was ready for this, but I'm not. I want to run. Run into the rolling field of green dotted with gray headstones. But I stand fast. This isn't my day. It's Nat's. One more goodbye before the dark night. I take a deep breath and try to remember what the funeral director told us. The hearse will arrive, and they'll move the casket onto a trolley. The crowd will have a chance to write their last farewells on the outside, then we will carry her into the chapel. Mom opted for cremation. She couldn't bear the thought of her only daughter rotting away in the ground. We'll all say a few words, and then that will be it. I subconsciously feel for the folded paper in my jacket pocket. I tried to write some words down last night, but I couldn't think of anything that seemed worthy of the occasion. It was too much pressure. How are you supposed to say goodbye to someone that you've always known? I secretly hope that the hearse never arrives, that I don't have to speak. But my wishes can't stop time. The hearse is soon upon us, slowing as the crowd parts to let it through. The rumbling engine stops. For a moment, there is no sound in the cemetery. A few sniffles break the tension, then the undertaker's alight from the vehicle, solemnly opening the back door to reveal the tiny white coffin. It's smaller than I imagined. I can't picture Nat crammed inside. But thankfully I don't have to see that. The undertakers skillfully removed the casket and placed it onto a wheeled trolley, positioned Nat at the door of the chapel. Ladies and gentlemen, before the service, the family would like to invite you to write a farewell message on the coffin. There are markers available here. We will begin in 15 minutes. Hearing such a loud voice after the whispers of the crowd is a bit of a shock to me. The funeral director then passes a marker to my father, who pauses for a moment before scribbling on the white veneer of the coffin. His writing is barely legible. He passes the marker to my mother, but he places a hand on the coffin, his chest heaving as he tries to maintain his composure. Mum scrawls, "Wait for me," on the side of the coffin and passes the marker to me. I can't think of what to write. My emotions are too turbulent to be coherent. I quickly scribble, "Love you always, little sister," and hand the pen to the next person waiting. As we step back, the crowd descends on the coffin, and soon the white surface is a colorful montage of farewells, in-jokes, and doodles. Some of her friends laugh through tears as they write secret messages that only they would understand. I want to yell at them, to stop them desecrating my sister, but Mom holds me back. Everyone grieves in their own way. You don't have a monopoly on your sister. I let my shoulders sag and scan the crowd. Most everyone from Nat's class is here, save one obvious exception. I'm not sure how I would react if Michelle showed her face here, but I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't let her leave alive. I take a nervous breath and decide to focus on the task at hand. Some of the older relatives have already started to file inside the small chapel and take their seats. There clearly aren't enough seats for everyone. I guess that is an advantage of dying young. You still have enough friends to pack out a funeral. I remember when my grandmother died, and apart from us, the only other guests were residents of her nursing home. They were bussed in. A service provided by the home so that no one was alone at their final goodbye. In the end, death comes for us all. The crowd outside begins to thin, and the pallbearers take up their position. I stand opposite Dad, his face contorted by pain and grief. Clearly he doesn't want to do this. Okay, we're going to lift on 3. 1, 2, 3. We clumsily lift the heavy coffin up onto our shoulders, and the undertakers remove the trolley. With the coffin against my face, I can read more of the messages. I avert my eyes. I don't want to feel anything anymore. But the messages seep into my brain, and I realize how little I knew about my sister. Her friends, her dreams. I'm overcome with the desire to simply sit with her for hours and to ask about her world. But now I'll never get the chance. Gentlemen, let's proceed. We start to shuffle together, letting the weight of the coffin settle onto our shoulders. The ground shakes as we take our first steps. Not sure if I imagined that or not. We quickly settle into a rhythm as we move into the chapel. The crowd stands and turns to face us. A thunderclap rolls harmlessly over the cloudless sky. I try to ignore the weight I'm lifting and the leering faces. The rising bile in my stomach. Feels like the earth is shifting under my feet. The sounds around me filter through my head, bypassing my mind. The whimpers and sniffles of the crowd, the dirge playing over the chapel's sound system, and a distant swell of water. Suddenly a klaxon cuts through the solemnity of the service. I look to the funeral director leading the procession. He turns back to look towards us. Thunder and sloshing rises in crescendo, and the funeral director's jaw drops in shock. A solid. Chapter 1. Okay, someone give me a sit rep now. Sir, the dam burst around mid-afternoon. We didn't start getting reports until the flooding reached Windsor. They thought it was a normal flood, but the river rose much faster than ever before. Managed to evacuate most of them, though, but here... Fire chief turns to survey the flooded dam behind him. Turbulent flows of water throw up a light fog around the area, making it hard to see. Here they had no chance. It would have been like a tidal wave. Any idea of what we're looking at? Police sent their chopper up, but they couldn't see a thing. We had teams up and down the river all night looking for anyone that might be left. The whole valley is flooded. It'll take weeks for the water to subside, let alone assess the damage. So the whole town? Fire chief removes his helmet, averting his eyes from the commander's gaze. How many? Hard to say, but early estimates are over 20,000. The entire floodplain was gone in a flash. We didn't even get a call. Debris and bodies are washing up all the way to the coast. It's a nightmare. And the press? We're keeping them away. They know, of course, but we don't want them to see. There's no point in that. Helicopters will have seen more than our guys by now. But keep them away from here. What about the hospital? Fire chief simply shakes his head. Damn it. So all we can do is wait? Till the water subsides, yes. Look how fast that flow is. One step in that mess and you're gone. Right. Make sure there is an exclusion zone around the flow. And get a camera crew up here. Post some pictures as soon as you can. Don't want anyone else trying to get an Instagram photo. Sir, we found someone. Assembly team jumps as if shocked by electricity. An unexpected survivor amongst the chaos. Years of training snap into place, displacing the horror of the disaster before them. They part to let the gurney pass through their ranks before converging behind it. Multiple teams jump into action. An ambulance is brought up to the fore, throwing the doors wide open. Bring them here. Are they conscious? Barely. She was stumbling around beside the floodwater. She seems dazed. It's shock. Let me see her. Can you hear me? Small figure can only stare off into the distance, but her blinking shows that there is at least some sign of life. You're safe now. Can you tell us your name? Figure shakes gently, unable to speak. Get her in the ambulance. Have a look at her. The paramedic guides the small figure on the gurney towards the ambulance. Let's get this off you now. It's warm in here. Paramedic removes her jacket, placing it at the end of the gurney. Looks like you've had a rough day. You want to talk about it? I've done it. Done it? I've saved them all. Saved who? Are there others? Sir, there might be others. Another jolt of electricity runs through the weary team, and rescue workers perk up at the news that there might be more survivors. Everyone, form up and start a search. There might be others. I've saved them from that monster. Okay, darling, lie down. You're safe now. We're all safe now. Because I saved us all. We're losing her. Someone help me in here. God fucking damn. God damn. Ooh. Wow. Those were all the seams. So I can tell you right now it's a cliffhanger ending. Because there's a chapter 2. I mean, chapter 2's out. We know what else is left. I kind of started realizing what they were doing in the last fourth of the scenes there. I realized, like, okay. I thought, like, okay, what if Michelle pushed Natalia off? And then I started thinking, once Doug started going crazy, I was like, okay, what if Doug is not actually a relevant character anymore? Holy shit. That was really, really good. That was fantastic. That is exactly as I expected. And I definitely, throughout it, I could tell... I got a feeling for what Corporal Crud... Like, I felt his writing in it. I detected it. The part that really tipped me off as to what was going to happen was when the snake looked at Michelle. I was like, okay, I know what's happening now. I completely understand, and I can't wait for chapter 2. Took so many directions, and none of them were what I expect. Yeah! As soon as they killed off Natalia, I was also like, okay, so there's something deeper happening, and we're only seeing a part of it. I really loved that. Separately, I need to text my sister. Should talk to her. I haven't talked to her in a little while. That part got to me. I need to go text my sister. See how she's doing. Damn. Wow. I mean, goddamn. That was fantastic. I am so excited to see how the story goes now. Stand that part. I think maybe Michelle is the iguana. I did, so I thought at one point, so I went over a couple things. I was like, what if Natalia is part of it? And that dream sequence, I was like, wait, what if Natalia was mentioned? I didn't think maybe Michelle was part of that, but I thought that, like, there was a kinship there, and I felt like, okay, all right, there's something there. Something is happening that we're kind of not getting all of right now. I do like that reasoning, though. That could be something as well to it. We'll I'll have to see, but I don't think it ends up like that. I mean, we saw that photo right at the end there. That was this photo right here. That looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? She looks quite familiar. She looks a little bit familiar. And that is definitely the snake, so we'll have to wait and see in chapter 2. God, that was so good. Oh, man. It was like exactly what I was hoping for, too, and sort of a psychological kind of thing. I'm always wary of psychological horror that uses, like, big monsters, because, like, yeah, I need to know, too. I only know what chapter 2 is like narrative. I only know what it's like narrative-wise. I don't know where it's gonna go story-wise. I just know how it's told. You can probably guess. I mean, they kind of tell you on the page for the game, but Corporal Crud, you've done it again. You and the sound. So I always knew it was gonna have good music, because judging from Katawa Shoujo, like, maybe it's not completely fair to do that, but the music was always really good, and the photos were nice, like the CGs. But the sound design in this one was incredible. Like the sound of the water, just like every little thing had a little sound effect. It really felt more like you were more of the world. It was amazing. God damn. Yeah, okay. That was awesome. That was... It did say, what, a couple of hours? 3.5? Not bad. I knew it had to be less than 4, so... God. Oh, man. Man. What an engaging story. What a... just cool everything. We will find ourselves in chapter 2 not too far from now, so let me back over here. Yeah, that is oh, I love that. I am beyond happy with the choice to play this. That was such a good one to do. We're in a time of where I'm just like, all the games I'm streaming right now are like really, really cool. We got Persona 3 Portable, we've got Season, and now we have Historia. Like, goddamn. I'm absolutely gonna stream this when more parts come out. It's still in progress too. Chapter 2's not the end of it, so. Oh. God. But with that, that is our stream for today. Damn, that was really fun. If you enjoyed the game, go follow Lucid A96 on Twitter, follow Corporal Crud on Twitter, go buy the game for yourself. It's on their itch.io page. It's all linked below. Check them out. Check out their WordPress. Awesome group of people. It seems like chapters come out faster than Deltarune. I don't know if it'd be that. I don't know if it'd be like that. It's I think the project, I don't remember when the first part came out, but I think it was like a year between parts, because I mean you have to produce everything and you have just one team of writers, so we'll see. But I will play any parts that come out, absolutely. So yeah, go check them out first and foremost. They're awesome. Check all of them out, please. If you enjoyed my stream and enjoyed my reading, you could subscribe, you could like, hit the bell, know about the next video. You could join the Discord server, you could follow me on Twitter, all that fun stuff. Links are down below. I greatly appreciate all of your support, and allowing me to like have people watch while I just play something, or like read something that I've been super excited about for a while and been interested in. It's pretty awesome, so I'm happy. And with that, I hope you do have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you're safe, and I hope you're well, and I hope to see you in the next stream. I also hope a giant water snake doesn't eat you and makes me forget about you. That would be uncool. And with that, OhaHyou everyone. Bye-bye.